Time I was a teenager, I had thoughts of suicide. I still need care, but children's health care is underfunded. Please give at children'smiraclenetworkhospitals.org today. Together, we can change kids' health to change the future.
End the stigma. Find out more at I'm Listening. Go to imlistening.org.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc. from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visit your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
Sell your car the easy way at Bomarito. No matter what kind of vehicle you have or what shape it's in, car, truck, van, or SUV, just go to Bomarito.com. Answer a few questions about your vehicle, and we'll give you an instant real purchase offer. Then we'll come to you, or you come to us, and we'll pay you on the spot. So when you're ready to sell your vehicle, go to Bomarito first. A better experience, a better price, better service. The automotive leader, Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group, open 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
Download the Odyssey app to discover hundreds of new exclusive music stations available now. For music fans, by music fans. Music stations specific to your taste, now available through the Odyssey app. It's all at Odyssey.com. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, Riverviews, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not a married sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome into the Annie Frey Show. Happy to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's another beautiful September afternoon. I think today's supposed to be warmer. Is that right? I think it's supposed to be like
warmer than the last couple days.
I think so.
I thought it was going to start dipping as the week went on.
The best way to start the show is with information that I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, what's great about that is Dave Murray just did the weather exchange, not that.
We're all like, what's going on?
We weren't even paying attention.
I was talking
The
about
computer
STS.
says it's 65 and partly sunny.
Oh, so I'm just going to be honest with you today. I feel like I was out partying all night, and I probably look like I was out partying all night. So if you want to see what that Hot Mess Express looks like, you can join the YouTube. This is, I guess, what happens when you're the mother of 4 and you have to work an event the night before. And I just was out until 10:30. So
you were out partying all night.
I had no drinks. There was no wine or whiskey involved. I just went out on a school night, and I feel it. I'm sorry.
Till 10:30. Honestly, have you ever been clubbing?
Yeah.
Has Annie Frey ever clubbed?
I like to talk about that.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that
I did.
later.
And I would go with my friends who I would care deeply for. And I usually was, I know it's going to come as a shock to you, but like mom on that trip.
Not country line dancing. I mean, like boom, boom clubbing.
Well, I would need to know more of your definition
Boom,
of
boom,
boom,
clubbing.
boom clubbing in order to say, yeah, I've done that.
As in there's so much bass you can't hear each other.
I've done that.
It's the clubbing where, everybody's every song sounds like Boots and Pants.
Yeah, Boots and Cats.
Boots and Cats.
Boots and Cats.
Yeah.
Well,
Boots
you
and
know,
cats and boots and cats and
in the South, it's boots and pants.
boots and pants, boots and pants and boots and pants.
Ryan,
Honestly, boots and pants makes more sense than boots
Ryan,
and
Yeah,
cats.
that's true.
that makes me wonder. Do you have a clubbing shirt?
This is it.
That's it. You wore
Every
pocket
day I
t-shirt.
wear my clubbing shirt because every day is clubbing day.
If you are wondering what Ryan Wiggins is wearing right now, he's wearing a red heathered t-shirt with a pocket.
Gonna be honest though,
And Elton
on
John
the
sunglasses.
stream, it doesn't look like he's wearing a shirt at all.
That's kind of
That's
accurate.
the point. That's what we go for.
Those white guns that you're showing there.
Thank you for calling them guns at least. Yes, they're pale, but man, are they nice. Thank you.
Let's talk more about the weather.
Yeah, let's do that. 88 degrees.
I'll tell you that I would say the most, let me think about this statement. I think the most clubbing thing that I ever did was in West Palm Beach, spring break, going down to Jupiter, Florida, because I wasn't Annie Frey then, but that's besides the point. I would go down with a group of girls, and then eventually that turned into couples, and then it eventually turned into me and a bunch of boys that would go down to watch the Cardinals for spring break. And it was, again, a very like old person thing to do when you're in college.
No kidding.
But the first time I went with 3 of my girlfriends, and we made our way to, what is that? Clematis Street, I think, in West Palm Beach. And there's a bunch of bars. And you'd go down those bars, and like I'm too much of a rule follower. Like I was terrified at the idea of getting caught doing anything, especially publicly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that if I did it, I was going to get caught. Is that egotistical, or is that my conscience?
That's both. I would say more your
Mostly.
conscience. Well, here's a question for you. When you turned 16, were you afraid that every government vehicle was reporting back to the police about how fast you were driving?
I didn't speed then.
Like if you drove past a postal worker, were you like, oh man, they're all in on it. They're going to call the police on me.
We've driven an Explorer before. It's funny. People get out of your way. When you're driving down the highway and your vehicle looks like the majority of police vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of just a parting of the sea. I highly recommend your next vehicle purchase being something that looks like a cop car.
My brother bought an old cop car.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Does he do whatever he
with
wants?
the light and everything.
The little mirror, the extra mirror on it.
No, that's a spotlight.
Oh, that's what that is.
And that works too.
A mirror for the really egotistical police officers.
Yeah.
I need 2 shots of me right now.
One of me, one of what's behind me.
So you would just jump out on the hammer lane on 64 and cars just move out of your way. It's great.
Yeah.
The only time he ever got pulled over is whenever he was in town and he kicked the car sideways in front of a police officer. The cop was like, "You looked like one of us until you did that." And then he blamed me. He's like, "Why do I always get in trouble when you're with me?" I was like, "I don't know. Why are you showing off for me?"
I didn't. I just was I was always so intimidated about getting caught. So I really didn't. It's funny because I was just talking to Brad about this. Brad met my parents last night. And
oh, it's official.
Yeah, it's official. They approved.
Okay.
Except for they called him Brian.
They got mixed up between me and him.
I'm
And now
like-
we're a power couple.
Exactly. You've merged the men on my show. We were at the Trey Gowdy event last night with Vitae Foundation.
Oh, that's right. That's what you were referring to this whole time. I'm like, where were you? I know you were somewhere.
Trey Gowdy was the keynote speaker for Vitae Foundation last night, the Frontenac Hilton. There's another Vitae event coming up, and it's October 28th. I will be emceeing that one as well, and Jason Chaffetz is going to be at that one, and it's in St. Charles. So go to adsforlife.org if you want to get tickets to that. Brad, you were there. I've been the first thing that I partnered with Vitae when I first started working with them and supporting them and talking about them, as a sponsor of this show was probably over a year and a half ago. And they're like, "We'd love for you to MC this event with Trey Gowdy." And I was like, "I will do it. I will be there. You tell me what you want me to do. I would love to experience that." And then COVID happened and it got postponed a bunch of times. So last night, this event finally actually happened. And I had heard from people regarding the pro-life issue. If you haven't heard Trey Gowdy talk about this, you haven't heard anything yet. And I will say personally, I mean, wow. Like his speech or whatever, it was amazing.
It was fantastic. I don't well up. I don't cry. But there are a couple times where I was like,
Brian will make you cry.
Get back in there, tear.
Yeah.
But the thing that stuck with me was the in favorem vitae, in favor of life. and how he would use his experience as a prosecutor being surrounded by death. And that's how he developed his pro-life views.
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal to listen to.
And, he explained how he would be in the courtroom and as a prosecutor, he'd see, I guess we get a sensationalized, dramatized presentation of what that courtroom scene looks like. I mean, not many people are in the courtroom for like a major murder case.
Yeah, they usually don't look like they're all mahogany wood everywhere.
Yes. And if you're a prosecutor and you're taking these like high crime cases like Trey Gowdy or other prosecutors are doing, you're really steeped in it. And, he talked about doing this for 10 years and he just was constantly being challenged by the worst of humanity. And he illustrated in detail some of the cases that he dealt with that are going to be seared in my memory for the rest of my life. And I just heard Trey Gowdy's, condensed 45-minute version of this. But, he was saying to what Brad was just saying there, what's
The
in
Latin,
favorem
vitae.
He was talking about how he explained in detail, he explained the graphic photos that they had to show the jury. It was a death sentence case. So the jury had to decide death or life. And I can't remember exactly how he said it, Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that the judge says to the jury in a capital punishment case, you can choose life for any reason or you can choose life for no reason.
Yeah.
So if you're on the jury and this man or this woman, whoever is being convicted, is 100% guilty of the crime and the worst version of said crime that you've ever heard of, you can still choose to give them life.
Without a reason.
For only the sake of giving them life. In prison for the rest of their life, whatever that looks like. But his point is, this person gets a chance at life for no reason. Like compare that to the scenario where, as a culture today, we have marginalized and dehumanized life in the womb. Now, I just had a fourth baby. I promise you it's life, but you don't need me to tell you that. We pound our fist on the table all the time right now about science. Like, doesn't it drive you crazy how much science is applicable, necessary, completely foundational, and the only thing that a political party will put out there to advocate for their point, but it's absent in the life issue?
Yes, especially in light of the Texas abortion case, because the way that that's covered, if you don't know that that's a heartbeat bill, you would never hear the words heartbeat and bill put together with that Texas case, because they'll always talk about women's rights and they'll always talk about 6 weeks and all the problems that come along with it. They will never mention anything that even hints at the possibility that you could be ending a life.
And I always think to the common sense that we'll have some story that comes up about, we launch something, it lands on Mars, and they're looking for not life, they're looking for signs of life that maybe it existed somewhere anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you found a fertilized egg on Mars, it would be the single biggest discovery in the history of science and man. On Mars? What? Let me show you something. Like, we can do this here. Obviously, it's life. Obviously, on Mars, they would work to protect that. They would work to replicate that. And it would be, think of the government dollars that would be invested in studying that. And here, we sacrifice all of that science for a political conversation that is used against women, telling them that they will be empowered by taking this choice unto themselves. It's so sad. It makes me enraged and angry, but it makes me so sad. And the thing that Trey Gowdy talked about last night, we had a VIP event at the beginning and I facilitated some question and answers, and I asked for questions and no one said something right away. So I was like, I'll ask a question first. And I asked him, I said, is abortion a religious issue? And he said, it can be, but if you're having a conversation with somebody and they're not religious, are you ever going to persuade this person arguing religion, arguing abortion based on religious standards? Of course you're not. And if you're not, if your goal is to persuade people, you have to meet them where they are. We don't do that with anything. Our culture, Brad and I were talking in the office a little bit earlier about something and like, is it appropriate to do this or when is it inappropriate to do that? And when I said the word out loud, inappropriate, I thought we're not allowed to say anything is inappropriate anymore. Like that right and wrong, you don't get to weigh in on what right and wrong is. It's all blurred. There is a version of right and wrong that exists, but it's arbitrary and it's subjective and it's all based on political power. And the women who get caught up in this when they're young and they're not provided with information will have a regret for the rest of their life. They'll potentially have a medical problem for the rest of their life. And they'll have a heartache for the rest of their life because they weren't provided science and information and fact and truth. And listening to Trey Gowdy talk about how we need to very much so be willing to have these extremely important conversations on other people's terms, because the goal is to persuade, that you have to live a life that people believe you when you're having these conversations and believe that your goal is to have not a fight, but a conversation, which may not end in you agreeing with each other, but maybe you'll put a spark in there that might shine for that individual later. And the thing that Vitae Foundation is doing and why I'm so proud to be partnered with them in this is that the Vitae Foundation, their whole goal is to reach women where they are. So if I'm expecting and I'm scared to death, or it's a complete and total surprise. And every person who goes to have abortion isn't like an 18-year-old who just got pregnant and is scared. There are 42-year-old women who have 3 kids who don't want to have a 4th kid and it wasn't supposed to happen. And they're considering. They Google it. Unplanned pregnancy, what comes up? Planned Parenthood comes up first. They go there. What Vitae Foundation is doing is putting themselves in between in that Google search so that they can direct them to a place that will help these women. And they do that with the support of you. And they do it by providing these amazing events where Trey Gowdy comes in and Brad and I got to hear them last night and it was really, really compelling. And they're going to do it again in October. And if you want to go and, I'll be there. I met a lot of you last night. That was really awesome. So many people there who listen to the show. It was great to meet all of you. But I am tired today. So I just slap myself around a little bit here on the break. Ryan, you want to do it? You want to slap me around?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, I'm in here. Usually not in here till 12:45.
Is it in your job description? Your contract? Your new contract?
It will be.
Okay.
Yeah, tune into the webcam to see Ryan assault Annie.
I
There you go.
have one demand for this next contract. I need to punch Annie.
Abuse. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm excited to have Dr. Scott Hardeman back on with us. Ryan and I are going to ask him some questions here, but we're going to take your questions as well. What do you want to ask? What medical question do you want an answer to? Non-political, non-biased with Dr. Scott Hardeman when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show. It's not about left versus right. It's about wrong versus right. Where St. Louis comes to talk. Right here, right now. This is 97.1 FM Talk. For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
Have you known anyone to make a promise they can't keep?
Many Missourians have learned the hard way that promissory notes may not be much of a promise. I'm Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. Let my office help. Before putting your hard-earned money at risk, contact us to find out the registration status of a product, the company, and its people. Go to MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. MissouriProtectsInvestors.com.
from the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hi, this is Tracy with Acropolis Technology Group. This message today is for those of you married to a just good enough or a bad IT company, but are afraid to break up with them because of how messy the last breakup was. I'm here to tell you, Acropolis is a great second, third, or even fourth marriage. As you probably experienced, switching is a real pain when the company doesn't know what they're doing. The memory of the last change is a bad one, so you put up with your current IT relationship until something really bad happens, and then, unfortunately, it's too late. We've started onboardings when a switch has been planned for months or as quickly as a few hours due to an untimely departure. Call us today for a free second opinion, and we will be happy to show you what the last 25 years of experience has taught us. Breaking up is hard to do, but we make it easy. Let us show you how our protect, optimize, and grow strategy can help your business by visiting us on the web at acropolistech.com. That's acropolistech.com. We are employee-owned, and we are Acropolis Technology Group.
Del Walmsley here. The first thing you're going to have to learn is until you stop expecting the politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
You could be on your way to a better lifestyle and experience the life of your dreams. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, fall is a great time to get some painting knocked off your to-do list, and CertaPro Painters is there to help. This is Mark Reardon. I've depended on CertaPro for years, and right now they're about to come over to restain my deck. They can do that for you or tackle any other interior or exterior painting job. The cooler fall weather makes it a great time to do outside jobs to prevent chipping, peeling, or fading, or refresh interior spaces like the living room or kitchen. CertaPro can do it all. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Book your appointment today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Proven and trusted experts in painting. CertaPro Painters.
Don't miss the Second Amendment Great Outdoor Show this Saturday at 3 p.m. with Bo Matthews and Mark Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. Presented in part by Razorback Armory, St. Louis's top shop for everything guns and ammo. On Manchester and De Pere and RazorbackArmory.com.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I still see your ghost. Oh Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for. What do I stand for? What do I stand for?
Look, I have hope in the sense that the American people don't put up well with tyranny. These are not merely cosmetic problems. These are deep problems. When the President of the United States tells us this isn't about freedom or personal choice, it's like a bank robber saying this isn't about the money. Look, this guy's making King George III look like a choir boy. He's asking people to choose between a vaccine and poverty, between total submission to the government and ruin. That's not fair. The American people won't stand up for it. And I'll be going to the floor every day for weeks to come, pushing back on this.
Senator Mike Lee there on Laura Ingram's show talking about the mandates for these vaccinations. Do either of you guys pay attention to Russell Brand?
Well, I know who he is, and I know he's active right now because he's saying some controversial things. Beyond that, no. I don't know what those things are.
They're things that, like, what we would say.
Oh, so they're things that we would talk about regularly.
Well, he was making the point about if you look at the people who are actually not getting the vaccinations, if you're looking at the people who are actually vaccine hesitant, it's generally speaking minorities, impoverished people, and, conservatives. But two of those three demographics tend to be on the lower income scale.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically.
Sure.
And to force those kinds of people out of jobs because of a government mandate is like, I don't think that we're doing this right here.
It's a great point.
I want to get to our guest here, Dr. Scott Hardeman. He joins us again. Excited to have Dr. Scott Hardeman back. He is an ENT with Urgent Specialist. You can check him out at urgentspecialist.com. Doctor, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So I want to ask you about your responsibility as an ENT, your job is to care for your patients. And I want to ask you, how many of your patients came to you first asking you, what do you think about this vaccine? Should I get it? And how many, like what percentage estimated of them came to you with preconceived notions based on what their TV was saying, what politicians were saying, what they were reading online? How much was baked in the cake before they got to you?
Yeah, I think with information overload that we have right now, I think it's hard to separate those things. I think people come in with a lot of information, and some may have kind of a preconceived bias one direction or the other, depending on what their position is. But it's hard just with the constant barrage that's out there. One side says one thing, one side says the other. I think that the vast majority of people that I talk to, even now about vaccines and if they want to move forward, if they haven't, or about their decision when they did it, is really wanting more just information about the science behind it, and or just a general feeling of if they're someone who should really be vaccinated at this point. So I think there's a desire there to make the right decision. And no one wants to get sick, of course, and no one wants this thing to continue any longer. It just, unfortunately, we're just inundated with information that isn't always correct and or can be viewed one direction versus the other.
Dr. Hardeman, this is Ryan Wiggins, by the way. I was looking at, a lot of the information that comes out. People refer to the VAERS database, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Mm-hmm. What exactly is that? What's the data that's in it? Is it trustworthy?
So the data that's in it, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's voluntary that it gets put in. It's generally has to be updated and reported by some sort of healthcare provider or facility where vaccines were given. Where it gets a little bit tricky is that it's initially raw data that gets submitted. And so, someone has an outcome that is within a short period of time from receiving the vaccine, whether it's a catastrophic outcome or some relatively minor perceived side effect or implication from it, that then has to be adjudicated and passed through, and they go through and review all that stuff. So it's a little difficult to know when you see that those raw numbers there that seem really high with respect to certain vaccine adverse events, if in the end those things will really play out to be directly vaccine related. And I think that's part of the tricky part with this, is just knowing where they are in the cycle of investigation of that. I think when it puts it into the database, it's required to be looked at further, but that investigational time period can go on for quite some time with each one of those individual cases.
We're speaking with Dr. Scott Hardeman right now. And if you have a question for Dr. Hardeman, Ryan and I are going to read those questions to the doctor in the next segment. So if you would like to comment, you can go on to the Annie Frey Show Facebook page, the Annie Frey YouTube channel, or a variety of other places, and comment your question and see if we can fit as many in as we possibly can in the next segment. Here's my next question. How does one getting the vaccine affect that individual's ability or inability to transmit COVID if they are to get it after they've been vaccinated?
Yeah, that's obviously a very appropriate question right now, because there's cases that happen as breakthrough infections of folks that have been vaccinated. And I think that's initially when we started seeing that as this Delta wave began to pick up, folks were kind of shocked to some degree. We'd see them get tested and say, well, I can't be positive, I can't be sick, I've been vaccinated before. But clearly breakthrough cases are happening, do happen, probably happen more than what we actually think. There's some pretty good studies to show that the viral load is equally as high in those that are post-vaccinated as those that have not been vaccinated. Which then the carryover from that would be is that it's perhaps just as transmissible. The reality, I think, is if your symptoms are less with the vaccine, which they do tend to be, they don't tend to be quite as significant. Even if there is a period of time where there was viral replication, a fair bit of viral load, that window probably shortens a little bit post-vaccination in those individuals. So it's maybe not quite as transmissible. But to be honest, the jury's still out on that. I think there's some pretty intense study. Where it gets a little tricky, too, is that if you've been vaccinated and you have relatively mild symptoms and you have this sort of preconceived notion, well, I've been vaccinated, I should be good to go at this point, you may not recognize those minor symptoms. You may be out and about. You may potentially be transmitting to other people. And I think that probably does happen to some degree.
Doctor, so is it a true statement if I said, I get the vaccine to protect myself, and also I get the vaccine to protect others? Are those scientifically true statements?
Well, I think the first certainly is. I think in reality, we're getting a vaccine to decrease the severity of the illness. I think early on, there was definitely a general push that if you should get vaccinated to protect your neighbor and everyone else out there. And I think to some degree there is an element of that. But as you see these breakthrough cases really pick up, as you see hospitalizations, again, mostly in the unvaccinated, but as you do see a fair number of them in the vaccinated individuals as well, and the notion that you can transmit after being vaccinated, people start to say, well, see, I'm punching holes in that argument, and they kind of come back at that. So it is definitely, it's something that is beneficial to the individual. It decreases severe illness, decreases the risk of mortality and hospitalizations, et cetera, et cetera. And I think if we had, shall we say, less overall severe illness, less circulating virus, then yes, it does help to kind of protect it from moving through society. But with this wave in particular, because the Delta variant seemed to be more contagious, obviously it picked up steam pretty quickly, and a good chunk of that was in the vaccinated population.
Dr. Hardeman, whenever I see reporting that hospitals are being overrun and we're at our capacity, I don't know why. I'm skeptical of everything, but I'm skeptical when I hear facts like that. So my question for you is, what's the truth, at least in this area? Have we ever been at a point where our hospitals are so overrun that they're turning people away, sending people to other ones? And where are we right now with that?
Well, certainly nowhere near that point now. And I think that's probably wise to be skeptical of that. I think there's a lot of issues at play. So there's obviously the one that gets talked about a lot is staffing. That can't be overlooked. Hospitals are, like many businesses, having a hard time. There was a lot of employees that were furloughed from the lowest level entry person at the hospital that provides one task all the way up to the physician workforce. And so when that happened, obviously, and then we picked up speed again, a lot of that workforce has moved on and or don't want to come back, or just kind of worn out with being in that sector of providing healthcare. So where we are now, I mean, the numbers are definitely heading in the right direction, and clearly the cases are down. I think you may have seen on the news that the 7-day moving averages are down. We're the lowest they've been in a couple of months at this point. You can clearly see the curve starting to round down, not just of number of raw cases, but of hospitalizations and also of deaths associated with it. So I'm very hopeful that we're kind of heading in the right direction again with this particular wave. But that this time around, we never reached the numbers that we had back, in the heart of winter last year. One of the hospitals I follow is right around 30 to 35 people admitted to the hospital. Currently, we had 150 at one point. Wow. So there's also a lot of other health issues out there too, right? So are we being, that's sort of where they manipulate the information are the hospitals busy and at capacity because there's less beds that can be staffed, because there's other health concerns of people in the hospital now. So it's not as if coronavirus has put that ultimate, hit to the facilities and to the healthcare sector. There's a lot of other issues going on too.
Before we get to a break, and we're encouraging people to come join us on our live stream. If you have a question you'd like to ask the doctor, Brian and I will ask them when we return. I do want to address this one from Chris on Facebook. He says, please ask the doctor about the report from Wales that says right now a third of the positive cases are unjabbed. So by simple math, the majority of positive cases are jabbed. Why no coverage? So I Googled that just to make sure Chris knows what he's talking about. And BBC has an article from 5 days ago. It says COVID-19 in Wales, a third of positive cases are unvaccinated. And then you go on to read, and it says a third of the people with confirmed COVID cases in Wales in the past week were unvaccinated, according to new figures released by Public Health Wales. The figures are shown 99% of the people who tested positive for COVID in the past week in Wales are under 60. Of these, 37% were unvaccinated. Nearly 13% of hospital patients with confirmed cases were unvaccinated. Now, that's the lead of this story here. And to Chris's point, if 13% of the hospital patients confirmed with COVID were unvaccinated, then what is that? 87% of them are vaccinated? That seems to me like that should be the story. As a medical professional, how do you read these headlines and kind of put them in the context of what you know medically?
Yes, I haven't seen that particular article or study right now. I'm going to have to go pull it and read it, but you could take that same information of the data that you see out of Israel too. So Israel had very high vaccine adoption early on. And at one point, I think they reached 60%, 70% of the cases that were testing positive were in the vaccinated population, right? So it's just how you present that information. Now, statistically, obviously, at some point, you reach a point where there are more people vaccinated than not. And so you're going to start seeing the number of people that are testing positive breakthrough cases, that percentage is going to seem as if it goes up, and kind of doing the math on that. But I would agree with you, if that's really the case, if their argument there in this particular article is that 13% are in the unvaccinated, well, what does that mean on the other side? Like I said, 87%. are in the vaccinated population. I think what we also miss out of that, which is fortunately it's getting talked about a bit more, but I don't think it's talked about enough, is in that unvaccinated population who had prior COVID, right,
Yep.
in the past 6 to 12 months or so. I mean, I just don't think you can really look at these two things in one place or the other, because we know clearly, we've been talking about this for a year and a half, that national immunity does provide significant protection against this, and it's important to keep that in the context of conversation.
Dr. Hardeman on with us here on the Annie Frey Show. He's going to stick around after this break. We are going to ask your questions. Ryan and I are going to comb through what we've got so far, but you can still use this break in the next segment to get your comment in and your question for the doctor. So, doctor, hold on. We'll get right back to you here in just a minute. A quick break and questions for the doc from you when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show. The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Congressman Jason Smith.
Mark, it's good to see you in D.C. Let me tell you, the Taliban now is the most equipped military outside of the United States and China, and that rests under Milley's hands, that rests under Joe Biden's hands.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 52 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional, lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues, 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
So I was talking to you in the first segment there about Vitae Foundation. I'm so grateful to be a partner with them, and I would like to invite you to be a partner with them by going to adsforlife.org. Listening to the Trey Gowdy keynote speech last night at the event was wonderful, and we have another one coming up. And if you go to adsforlife.org, you're going to be able to see the Jason Chaffetz event there and get your tickets if there are still some available. I believe that there are. But I want you to know how Vitae works differently than anybody else is doing. They invest in research. They invest in going into communities to go where abortions are occurring at a higher rate. Learn about them. I was speaking with Debbie Stokes, the CEO, last night, and I said, you know what, there's so much that we just need to do as humans where we just shut up and listen to people and hear where they're coming from so that we can know how to meet them on their turf. And that's what Vitae is doing. They're investing in a ton of research. Super excited to see what that bears in November when that research comes out. And I want to tell you that if you want to be a part of reaching women where they are to help them make a choice that's going to save lives, literally save lives, you can do that by supporting Vitae Foundation. Find out more information online at adsforlife.org.
These are the final days, the final hours of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. You have until Saturday at 6 p.m. to take advantage of 5 years zero-interest financing. That's on any purchase. Buy now. Spread your payments over 5 whole years with zero interest. Response has been incredible, but this amazing offer comes to an end on Saturday and will not be extended. Don't miss the year's best buying opportunity at Diamonds Direct. 5 years zero interest through Saturday at 6 p.m. Get directions, details, and more now at diamondsdirect.com.
Buying a car is just a few clicks away at Bomarito.com. Choose new or pre-owned. See it today, drive it today. Shop thousands of vehicles and even buy 100% online with Bomarito Fast Pass. Schedule a test drive, get financing. Plus more for your trade at Bomarito, and we'll deliver your vehicle to you. A better experience, a better price, and real service after the sale. Go with the automotive leader, Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group. Open 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for ThrottleNet. And if you need new IT service and you're a small business owner, or you just need better IT service, why wouldn't you check out ThrottleNet? They won Best in Customer Service from Small Business Monthly this past January, Best in Cybersecurity in Small Business Monthly in February. Ransomware has been huge, unfortunately, on the rise through the pandemic, and ThrottleNet has saved clients $2.6 million in ransom. So they protect against ransomware by providing a tool set that provides cybersecurity training for employees, identifying and quarantining an infected machine from the network, and the equipment will recover in less than 24 hours. Take advantage of a great offer. The first 30 days with ThrottleNet are free. There's no onboarding fees if you leave in the first 30 days. ThrottleNet will pay you $1,000 for your trouble. And after the first 30 days, no contracts, they're month to month. Check out ThrottleNet online. Use the 97.1 connection, throttlenet.com/971. Throttlenet.com/971. Get started today.
If it's bumper to bumper or smooth sailing, Sue Thomas has you covered with dependable traffic. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
If you wanna roll me, then you gotta roll me all night long.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for spending some time with us this afternoon. We have Dr. Scott Hardeman on with us. Go to urgentspecialist.com and you can learn more about the best urgent care in the area. He's also an ENT, and he answers our COVID questions from a medical perspective without all the partisan nonsense that we are inundated with the rest of the week. So we've got questions coming in right now on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, the Facebook page. If you would like to get your question in, hurry up, go comment, join the live stream, and get it in there. Ryan, what's the first question we're going to ask Dr. Hardeman?
This one's from Christopher. He says, and I saw this kind of pop up in the political sphere of things, but I do, I was genuinely wondering what the medical reason for this would be. He says, why did the CDC change the definition of vaccine from preventing disease to reducing the effects of disease?
I don't know that I have an answer to that.
So it is a political question.
Yeah. I mean, not all vaccines, prevent all illness. Obviously, I mean, flu vaccines are beneficial in some regard. They can reduce the severity of the illness. There is even some carryover effect, even if we miss a little bit on the flu vaccines. The formulation from year to year does seem to lessen symptoms. And vaccines, I mean, as we discover and run into new pathogens over the course of human existence, we're probably going to see things like this. I mean, historically, coronaviruses have been around. Rhinovirus has been around for forever. And, it's not the type of thing you typically see as an eradicating organism. I mean, it's awfully hard to make that go completely away. I don't think we will with this, to be honest. We sort of chatted about this a couple weeks ago. I think this is down a path that there's groups of people, there's those that have had COVID and those that are about to get COVID, even those that are vaccinated. But if ultimately we reduce the severity of this to something that is substantially less, obviously we've done society a positive at that point. At some point, I think we have to acknowledge that and where we are in the cycle of this, and looking at other countries for guidance where their percentage of the populations are largely vaccinated, still seeing this kind of move through the sector. When we stop counting cases and start looking more at severity of illness and hospitalizations that are benchmarks, as opposed to just panicking about 100,000 cases in the country happening.
So here's a question from Todd on our Annie Frey Show Facebook page. Is there any difference in the booster and in the original vaccine? How do those two compare?
To my knowledge, no. The information that I've been able to find about the boosters with Pfizer right now is that it's the same dose, same formulation as before. I know there's been a lot of discussions about modifying the formulation to sort of mirror or parallel the minor mutations that are taking place in these variants, but the current round of this are the same. The theory behind that is that if you just get a higher level of neutralizing antibodies there that in the immunocompromised individuals or those that have significant risk of exposure, that it helps to stop it from progressing to that real severe illness as well. So down the road, we probably will see a change a bit, though.
Okay.
For Dr. Hardeman, this question comes from the Annie Frey Show Facebook page. It's Don's question. It says, the current vaccines don't give anywhere near 100% immunity. Is anyone working on a better one? And I'll add to that, are we worried about more variants down the road, or is this sort of the last gasp of COVID?
Oh boy, wouldn't that be great if this was the last gas? We thought that, back in the spring, early summer part, and then, this Delta variant kind of popped up like that. It obviously came from other places around the world. And that's the tricky part to answer, because I think there is, these variants are tending to develop in other places where they don't have access to vaccines, or where the mutations are occurring at a more rapid rate. I don't think we're going to see a vaccine that's 100% efficacious, period. I mean, when we started this process, we were talking about 60 and 70% was great. Right now, we're talking about 90 to 94, 95% of efficacy with the vaccines. And so that benchmark to get to 100% is probably never going to happen. I think we are probably going to see some other mutations and variations, and there are some circulating out there. That's where I think overall the concept of getting some level of, I hesitate to even use the word herd immunity, but if you decrease the severity of the illness in a community, be that through vaccination efforts and or natural infection and immunity, that there's just less likelihood that you're going to see these mutations jump from one group of individuals to another, because it's just not spreading as rapidly at that point.
Doctor, the great philosopher Maui from the classic film Moana says you need to know where in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been. Does it matter where this virus came from?
I think it does. I think if we had some, first of all, it's helpful just from the psychology of the world and of our country to feel like that they're not being led astray for either political reasons and or economic reasons with medications and treatments and vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it also, knowing the origins of these things, if it were really out there and the knowledge existed, it potentially could allow us to identify and design therapeutics that would treat better, and or vaccine technology that would get us to a point where maybe we could get rid of these types of illnesses. So I think it's important. Yeah.
Okay. Joe on YouTube says, has the doctor heard of the vaccine Covaxin, and what do you think about it? I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I think Covaxin is the name of the vaccine, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be marketed in India off of the Novavax platform. I don't quote me 100% on that, but if it is, that's similar to Novavax, which has come up a time or two on the show, which is a different type of vaccine technology using the protein subunit basis, where they're recombinantly producing a portion of the spike protein and then administering a portion of that in order to trigger an immune response. I think that's what it is.
This question comes from the Andy Frey Show Facebook page for the doctor. It's from Melissa. She's specifically referencing schools here, but it seems like you could apply this to anywhere. She says, what is your view on schools not allowing antibody tests as effective as natural immunity versus those with a vax record be except from quarantines?
Yeah, I think the issue of there's no question with vaccines that it seems as if it decreases the severity of illness, like we've been talking about. But I think part of the reason that there's still folks out there, be that in the pediatric population or in the adult population, that just kind of put up a little bit of a roadblock and say, hold on, let me find out more information about this. I really do think that there would be, if there was more, the American people want to know this. I mean, everyone wants to understand this as best as they possibly can. And so acknowledging that natural infection and those that have recovered from that completely and convalesce have potentially great immune responses to this, to be able to maybe even prevent it from getting infected again, and or certainly decrease the severity of that. I think it should be. I think it would be helpful if we acknowledge that that is a path towards getting towards the end of this thing, is those that have been previously infected and recovered. But for some reason, it just seems to be that we're just holding on very tightly to only one way to walk, and that's just to acknowledge, vaccine status overall. So every day there's more information that comes out about natural infection and recovery. And then you sort of get to the point of, okay, well, if we're 6 or 8 months, maybe a year out from having it, and you follow antibody levels and they're starting to wane, is that a reasonable conversation to have? Say, okay, well, let's just do a single shot booster, especially in the younger population. And again, that's being done worldwide, right? They're not necessarily routinely going to 2 shots. In that case, you're going to a single shot for a booster.
All right. Melody on Facebook says, how do you protect yourself before and after the vaccine? Do you detox? Do you take vitamins, aspirin? What are your recommendations?
I think most people get the vaccine and have kind of localized reaction to it, fortunately, which is, some arm swelling, discomfort, maybe a 24-hour period of time where they feel lethargic, maybe around a low-grade fever as well. I would just treat those things as you would any other prior vaccine. It's just to hydrate well and make sure you can take some anti-inflammatories just to make yourself feel better. Typically, those are relatively short-lived periods of time. The bigger stuff obviously gets the press out there. That's hard to predict, and there really is no way to necessarily prevent yourself from having one of those significant side effects. It's just, fortunately, now that we're further down this path, we can look back and say it does seem as if those are continuing to be awfully rare at this point, which is obviously good.
Two questions back to back. Same question, really, on the Anti-Fry YouTube page. Angeline and Jerry both asking, does the doctor recommend getting the booster no matter which variety you received?
No, at this point, I think the Pfizer is the only one, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm changing the past 24 hours or so here, that is advocating for boosters. Moderna is obviously looking at that and probably is going to say something similar, and J&J may as well. But this is where it gets very interesting because, the next day you'll see an article that talks about how the J&J and the Moderna hold up extremely well against the Delta variant, even months out from vaccination at this point. So I think they're recommending to still stick with the same vaccine that you've used. And right now, I still think it's primarily Pfizer, although I won't be at all surprised if in the coming weeks, we see that Moderna probably will be the next one that they'll advocate for a booster shot, 6 to 8, maybe 12 months out from your initial sequence of shots.
Last question before we have to go, and I don't have a whole lot of time left here. Craig on Facebook says, isn't the normal cold and flu virus a COVID-type virus? If that's true, will we ever find a cure for this COVID virus? Craig doesn't think so.
Short answer, I would say no. We won't find a cure for that. There may be some antiviral medications that are going to be developed because it's under the microscope now, and that's research is ongoing. Some of the common cold and flu viruses, they're similar. There's rhinoviruses and coronaviruses. There's many in this sort of RNA sequence of viruses. But yeah, coronavirus certainly is one of those that's existed out there. This is just a new version of that.
Okay. Dr. Hardeman, it's always a pleasure to have you on here. People are always so grateful that you give us some of your time, and we are grateful as well. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well. ENT, great, reliable resource on medical information about COVID, because Lord knows we're hearing all sorts of things shouted at us from every angle. And we like to get the nonpartisan perspective on here. Let's take a quick break. In the next hour, Deroy Murdock's going to come on. We're going to talk a little bit about that massive Democrat spending bill that Deroy says is a blueprint for socialism in America, and he attributes the $3.5 trillion budget to Bernie Sanders. Representative Mike Bost will join us as well at 1:25. Don't go anywhere.
Then you gotta hold me next to you.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%. And Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Hi, this is Andrea from Best Buy Flooring. Contractors are our best kept secret. We have a huge selection of in-stock carpet, vinyl, laminate, tile, and hardwood. Cash and carry or let our flooring experts install your new floors. Did you know we refinish hardwood as well? 2 locations to serve you, Hazelwood, Missouri and O'Fallon, Illinois. Open daily, online at bestbuyflooringstl.com. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
I heard the COVID-19 vaccine has...
And the thing I heard about the vaccine...
Sure, but do we really know about the long-term effects? Did you read that thing on the internet?
He heard from his cousin that they don't...
Okay. You're hearing a lot of talk about the COVID-19 vaccines these days. So how do you find out if getting vaccinated is right for you? By talking to someone you already trust, your doctor or healthcare provider. They'll answer your questions so you can decide what's best for you and your family. Go to getvaccineanswers.org to find out more. That's getvaccineanswers.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Barbecue is back. The 6th annual Q in the Lou Barbecue Festival returns October 1st through the 3rd to Keener Plaza in downtown St. Louis. Enjoy award-winning barbecue from pitmasters from across the country. There'll be live music and cooking demos. Q in the Lou is free to enter. Barbecue, drinks, and more will be available for purchase or upgrade your experience with a Q in the Lou Pit Pass and enjoy 2.5 hours of all-you-can-eat and drink. Visit qinthelou.com for information and tickets.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1
FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Is Afghanistan the new Iraq? I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. At a second day of hearings, some in Congress argue the U.S. may be heading down the same path, having to backtrack on a withdrawal because of terror threats. Fox's Rachel Sutherland has more live.
Secretary Lloyd Austin refused to rule out going back to Afghanistan in the future, saying that's a decision for the president to make, as squabbles broke out over the end of 2 decades of war. House Armed Services Committee Chair Adam Smith.
20 years of a whole lot of different people leading has led us to this point, and we said we're going to stop.
Republican Joe Wilson of South Carolina stepped in.
Mr. Chairman, this is inconceivable. They're bringing the war here.
Secretary Austin says it's not preordained that the U.S. will return to Afghanistan. Lisa?
Thanks, Rachel. House and Senate Democrats are working on possible standalone measures now to avoid a government shutdown and suspend the debt limit after Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would have done both as part of a broader fight that continues over the president's plan for trillions in new spending. Some encouraging news on one state's battle with COVID.
Our 7-day average positivity rate has also begun to drop and now stands at under 10% for the first time in weeks.
Though Indiana's health commissioner, Dr. Christina Box, says many hospitals there remain stretched beyond capacity. More items will cost more than $1 at Dollar Tree, the discount chain blaming higher costs for price hikes.
Some items will cost just over.
Fox News.
Oh, won't you stick with me, baby? I'm going to make a lot of bread. I mean both money and actual bread. But right now I need dough, 'cause my delivery truck's dead. And by dough, I mean money. Trucks don't run on bread.
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but with personalized discounts that save you money, Progressive Commercial keeps you humming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I need more dough. Need with an N. I need more dough. Need with a K.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
If you think vaccines alone will protect you from COVID-19, think again. More breakthrough cases of COVID variants show that vaccinated people are still vulnerable to the deadly disease. To be safe, monitor regularly for fever, as it's the leading sign of COVID-19. Use Exergen, the only thermometer scientifically proven to detect fever, and beware of non-contact devices that miss 5 out of 6 fevers. Remember, vaccines are not enough, so protect yourself and your family with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Summertime still hanging on across St. Louis. Lots of sunshine. 90 for the high this afternoon. 97 is the record. Nowhere near that. Tonight, clear skies in the 80s. 68 for the warm overnight low. Wednesday, still a hot day. 88 Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny skies. But we cool back with changeable skies. Couple of showers on Thursday and 80. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Mark Cox Morning Show will be broadcasting from Washington, D.C. for the 14th annual Hold Their Feet to the Fire event this Wednesday and Thursday. Tune in and hear the show live from our nation's capital, hosted by the Federation for American Immigration Reform, where Chad Wolf, Tom Homan, and Hector Gabriel will bring a focus to the crisis at our southern border, holding their feet to the fire. Live in D.C. The Mark Cox Morning Show, this Wednesday and Thursday on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm learning from doing lives for Fountains Family Dentistry that dentist office, just like anywhere else, they go through busy seasons and they go through not as busy seasons. One of the things that I've learned, this doesn't just apply to dentists, it's to pretty much any medical professional, is that if you want to always be able to get in, you go right before a holiday. Like a holiday weekend before Memorial Day, before Labor Day, something like that. They're never busy on the Thursday and Friday before a holiday, and they're always really busy right after a holiday. So that applies to broader scheduling too. For instance, this time of year, right before school starts, dentists are really busy with kids. Well, right after school starts, they're not as busy. So if you've been waiting to get into the dentist and you don't want to schedule for something for down the road, you absolutely can do that. They can always do that for you at Fountains Family Dentistry. But if you want to get in quick, now's a great time because school has started. And I think there's a little bit of a lull here at the end of September through the beginning of October. Great time to call. Fountains Family Dentistry is in Fairview Heights. Absolutely state-of-the-art, super nice people. You want to go there. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com.
My fiancé surprised me with an engagement ring from Shane Company. A simple solitaire ring with a beautiful oval diamond. I love it. I had a vision of what I wanted to do with the wedding bands to create my own look and add even more sparkle. Shane Company has so many options, so it was easy to bring it to life. I got 2 bands. I selected a diamond contour band to go on one side of my engagement ring and a delicate vintage band to go on the other. It's a unique ring stack and it fits my style. It's totally me. My fiancé got his wedding band at Shane Company too. I had no idea what he'd gravitate to because he never wears jewelry. He tried on lots of rings. Turns out, he really liked a black tantalum band. It's masculine and unique, and it suits his personality. The wedding is really soon, and I can't wait to wear my gorgeous new rings every day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
There's a music station customized to your taste. Download the Odyssey app and browse the stations for your perfect fit. Brought to you in part by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar. On the Odyssey app and Odyssey.com. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, Riverviews, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
My fear is that if the dual agreement that was reached is broken, and we just passed the infrastructure bill, the leverage that we have here in the Senate to pass the reconciliation bill will be largely gone. I think the one hope we have is to say, look, if you guys want to pass the infrastructure bill, I want to pass it. You want to pass that? You're going to have to deal with you're going to have to deal with reconciliation. You can't just keep slow walking this thing.
So, Bernie Sanders there talking about our one hope. I have a feeling that my one hope might be a little bit different than Senator Sanders' one hope. Just a guess. We'll find out this week. As we see, maybe the government's going to shut down. We're going to speak with Representative Mike Bost here at 1:25. But somebody who's right on top of Bernie Sanders America right here is our guest, Deroy Murdock, Fox News contributor, and he's with us each week. Deroy, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Great to have you back.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. How are you?
I'm doing okay, except for what Bernie Sanders describes as hope for the future of the country, especially all of the pet projects that he has. He's going to solve everybody's problems secretly with their own money. That's what it sounds like, at least.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that, let's see, the government takes our money from us and they use that money to solve our problems, except whatever they get involved, they usually screw things up. So the problems don't really get fixed. So it's sort of the problems continue, except now the money's been taken out of your bank account. Yeah, this is a giant mess that the Democrats have got. It's sort of a push me, pull you, going back to Dr. Seuss. They're trying to figure out how to get these bills through this week. And if they spend more money, they keep AOC and Bernie Sanders and the far left socialist Democrats happy. But then people on the more on the moderate side, Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, a number of others, they get upset. And if they reduce the amount of spending to get the so-called moderates happy, then the far left freaks out. So this will be probably the ultimate test of Nancy Pelosi's ability to count votes, twist arms, break kneecaps, or whatever it might take to get this thing through. And ultimately, it may not work. And if the whole thing sinks into the Potomac River, it'd be the best thing for this society possible.
Deroy, but it doesn't. It costs $0. $3.5 trillion. That's just a figurative number. And those predicting that in years beyond that it's going to cost even more. We've heard from the Democrats, the president himself. It's not going to. It's paid for.
Yeah, it's paid for. It costs nothing. I mean, this is sort of a kindergarten level of understanding of economics. I mean, you could imagine two kids in a sandbox in kindergarten saying, "Oh, I see your dad's buying a new car," and he said, "Yeah, he paid for it, so it costs nothing." I mean, this is. If you've gotten to third grade, you understand this doesn't make sense. But we have the President of the United States operating with that sort of juvenile level of understanding or misunderstanding of economics. I don't know how you can propose a $3.5 trillion bill and not even raise enough taxes to cover it. And even if you do raise that much money in taxes, it still isn't free. It means you've taken $3.5 trillion out of people's pockets to go spend it elsewhere. And yet Biden thinks that this is equal to zero. That's just insane. And he's either outright lying through his teeth, or again, he's got a 10-year-old's understanding of economics at best.
Well, Deroy, they do say that it is going to be paid for those companies. And listen to Jen Psaki here. She says this shouldn't affect consumers at all.
I have not looked at the document or the report that you have put out. Obviously, the president, or that you have referenced, I should say, that the Republicans put out. Obviously, the president's commitment remains not raising taxes for anyone making less than $400,000 a year. There are some, and I'm not sure if this is the case in this report, who argue that in the past, companies have passed on these costs to consumers. I'm not sure if that's the argument being made in this report. We feel that that's unfair and absurd, and the American people would not stand for that. But I will take a closer look at this report and get you a more substantive response.
Yeah, the American people wouldn't stand for that because they see it coming a mile away. And if the Biden administration says it's absurd, is that going to threaten any of these companies who are going to pay even more of their fair share here under the Biden plan and keep it from hitting, everyday consumers like you and me?
Well, look, the fact is that companies don't pay taxes, they collect taxes. And they pay their taxes either by reducing the amount of money that they pay to workers, taking that money out of the dividends they pay to their shareholders, including people who've got their money put away for retirement in mutual funds and that sort of thing, including unionized retirement plans, by the way. Or they just decide, well, we're going to close this factory. We're going to shut down those shops. We will not expand into this state or that locality. The money's going to come from somewhere, and there isn't some magic sort of like treasure chest where this money comes from. It's going to come out of somebody's hides, and very often it comes out of the hides of working people. The Joint Committee on Taxation took a look at this, and they've determined that in this $3.5 trillion, at least, Bernie budget, 18% of it will be paid by Americans who make between $75,000 and $100,000, and 35% of it by Americans who make between $100,000 and $200,000. That is well below the $400,000 threshold that Joe Biden promised. So this is yet another promise he's making. And I've even seen, according to the Joint Committee on Taxation, not a big number, but 5% of people making $10,000 or less will end up having money reduced, their incomes reduced because of this bill. $10,000, that is below the poverty line. So you've actually got Joe Biden taking money out of the pockets of people below the poverty line. So he has taken that promise he made a year ago on the campaign trail and just detonated it into 1,000 pieces.
Deroy Murdock joining us right now as a Fox News contributor and a weekly guest here on the Annie Frey Show. You've got an op-ed on Fox News. We're going to share it, foxnews.com. And as you've mentioned here multiple times, you're really giving Bernie Sanders a lot of, he would say, credit. I guess we would say blame for this budget. Why Bernie Sanders? Why does this bill? Because, Joe Biden, he ran and won and said he was going to unify the country. Bernie Sanders is pretty far to the left. How does this become Bernie's bill?
Well, Bernie Sanders, when the Democrats won the Senate after they won the two runoffs in Georgia, one of the repercussions of that was that Bernie Sanders became chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, and they put together this budget handcrafted by Bernie Sanders, who is no middle of the road Democrat. He is a self-avowed socialist. And even though Joe Biden allegedly ran as a so-called moderate, middle of the road, mainstream centrist Democrat. This budget was put together by Bernie Sanders, blessed by Biden. He didn't say, Bernie, this is too far. This is crazy. I won't go along with this. Biden has embraced this as his own. He's pushing it as his own. And if you think Bernie Sanders is bad, you just have to look at the House Budget Committee. They did their own markup of the budget, and that came in at not 3.5 trillion, but 4.3 trillion. That's about 23% bigger than Bernie Sanders' budget. So the House Budget Committee makes Bernie Sanders look like a relative cost-cutting Ronald Reagan, which is amazing. So the Budget Committee is to the left of socialist Bernie Sanders, and that's the bill that they ultimately will vote on in the House this week. That's 23% bigger. You add in the infrastructure bill, and you add in these various programs, which, according to the way this thing has been calculated, are supposed to expire after 3 to 5 years. That's not going to happen. These programs will continue forever if they're started. And the 10-year budget on that increases the spending by, I believe, an extra, let's say, go from 3.5 to 5.5, and then you throw in the $400 billion for interest payments, all this, and the bill comes out to not 3.5 trillion, but 6.9 trillion. That's double the 3.5, almost double. So they're selling us 3.5 trillion. It's really about $7 trillion in spending that they're trying to push through this week. So this is a huge amount of money. We don't have, I know you and me and our listeners are suffering the initial blows of inflation as gasoline and food and everything else costs more money. $7 trillion pumped into the economy. All that will do is increase the inflation rate and basically decrease the amount of take-home pay people have, and also reduce, if they're retired, reduce the value of their retirement savings. So this is just a complete disaster, totally unnecessary, not what people voted for last week, or I should say last year. And the sooner this week these bills go up in flames and they start from scratch and put together something much smaller and sensible and actually useful for the American people, the better.
You know, Deroy, something I've been encouraging myself first and foremost to try to focus on, and also as a regular discussion here on the show, is asking myself the question, well, what are you going to do about it? Because, you know, I can do 3 hours of complaining about a whole variety of things that are going on in our country right now. But what are we going to do about it? I would imagine as the Democratic Party moves drastically to Bernie's left, that's creating some open space where some rational, common sense people who have maybe voted blue more than they voted red, those people got to be feeling like they're flapping out in the wind. What do the Republicans need to do about it?
Well, I mean, one thing you can do right now is call the Capitol Switchboard and share with your members of Congress, members of the House, and members of the Senate your views on this. That number is 202-225-3121. That's 202-225-3121. And call and ask for your senators, call up your House member, and let them know what you think about this bill. That would be very helpful for one thing. Secondly, the GOP, starting now and continuing all the way through November 2022, needs to go out and talk to people in their homes, in their union halls, in their churches, and their public gatherings, and talk about an alternative to this, which is going back to the very simple concept of limited government, reduced federal spending, getting the government out of areas it doesn't belong, and going back to something closer to what the Constitution has, which is a government that has a certain number of very limited things it ought to do, and leave the rest of it to the states, the cities, and the people. I just saw on Fox News Channel that part of this bill includes making permanent the child credit, tax credit. It now will be available not just to parents, but any adult who wants to help out some child. And then this is the beauty part: if two different adults claim a credit for the same child, the IRS gets to decide which one gets the credit, which turns the IRS into essentially family court. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that lovely to have the IRS making decisions between, is it mom or is it Uncle Joe who's really responsible for the tax credit for a little 10-year-old Sally or Teddy? I mean, this is just imagine the possibilities. You think a tax audit was bad. How about a family, sort of basically a family custody dispute being settled by IRS agents? I mean, it's just mind blowing.
I can't imagine how that could possibly go wrong, Deroy.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
We always love having you here. We're going to share this article you wrote for people who want to know what's actually in this bill. You make some great points about real things that Bernie Sanders and the Democrats are trying to push through, and hopefully it crashes and burns this week and we do get some common sense about ourselves. Deroy, thank you so much. Nice. Good to have you back.
Annie, great to talk to you. Thanks a lot.
You as well. Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock, Fox News contributor there, he just provided that U.S. Capitol switchboard number, and I'm like trying to like write it down over here, and Brad holds up his phone to me, and he has it saved in it's a contact in your phone.
I've had that saved.
What a nerd.
Yeah, I'm an incredibly big nerd. I've had that saved for years, but that's the only way to
call
get
it?
Every now and then, whenever I think it's going to be beneficial, whenever I think that something's going to move. But that's the only way you move government. I mean, you talked about that in Illinois.
Mhm.
You know, that you told a story about how you called everybody to action to call into their reps, and the rep picked the phone off the hook and set it off because it was just ringing constantly. Yeah. So that's I keep it in my phone.
202-224-3121 per Brad's address book in his phone.
Such a nerd.
Unbelievable. I knew you'd be a great producer. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Representative Mike Bost is going to be with us. He's a congressman for Illinois' 12th district, right across the river here. Many of you have Representative Bost as your congressman. This bill that we're talking about with Deroy, is it going to crash and burn into the misery that it should? We'll ask Representative Bost in just a minute what he thinks. We'll be right back.
Shake that body.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Many different flavors and the spice is strong. Getting to the hot stuff, let me pour a little song.
97.1 is your home for independent thought. That's why 97.1 is the #1 talk station in St. Louis. It's the place for ideas in a country facing challenges like never before.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
Tom and Shirley were shocked when they realized that their retirement income wouldn't come close to letting them do everything they wanted to do. They did have plenty of equity in their home, so they checked out a reverse mortgage. But the idea of taking on mounting debt and so much red tape, no thank you. That's when their financial advisor told them about TrueHold. When they compared TrueHold to a reverse mortgage, the advantages were clear. While both let you stay in your home, the huge difference was money. A reverse mortgage would pay them only a fraction of their home's total value, while TrueHold paid them 100% of their home value minus a small fee. Bottom line, TrueHold paid twice the cash as a reverse mortgage, and they could stay in their home renting as long as they wished. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. That's TrueHold.com and see how easy they make getting 100% of your home's value within 30 days. That's 1-855-300-9993 or TrueHold.com. Don't miss out. Get with TrueHold today.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
We've all seen the news, and if you haven't been thinking about cybersecurity in your business, you probably are now. It's never been more important than it is today. At Acropolis Technology Group, we're having these conversations daily, and they primarily fall into one or more of these three categories. One, I'm renewing my cyber liability coverage, and my insurance company is asking me to check boxes that I can't check. How do I fix it at a reasonable cost? Two, I'm so integrated with my suppliers, business partners, and customers, they're asking me the same questions. We're only as strong as our weakest link, and I'm concerned we aren't doing enough. Or three, most of my employees get it, but there are a few that I'm really concerned could expose us to a ransomware attack by accidentally clicking on the wrong link. How do I educate them and lessen my risk? If you're concerned and not sure what to do, we can help. Security is a layered strategy that begins with a conversation. Let's start that conversation today and visit us on the web at acropolistech.com. That's acropolistech.com. Protect, optimize, grow. We are Acropolis Technology.
It's Mark Reardon for CertaPro Painters, and I just hired CertaPro for another job. This time it's restaining my deck. They took care of that about 3 years ago. It's time to do it again. But CertaPro can handle any painting job, interior or exterior. These are local painting crews, and each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They make the whole process so easy, and for me, the most important thing is I don't have to do the work. To schedule your free estimate, visit CertaPro.com or call 800-GO-CERTA. That's CERTA with a C. CertaPro Painters for your home or business. Proven and trusted experts in painting.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being here. I want to remind you that you can subscribe to the Annie Frey Show podcasts anywhere you get podcasts. You can hear what we've talked about, who we've interviewed, like we just got done speaking with Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock. All of that is available to you on our podcast, including, we will have this up here momentarily after we get done with the interview. Our next guest, Congressman Mike Bost, joins us. He represents Illinois' 12th District. Congressman, thank you so much for the time today. It's great to have you back on the show.
Annie, thank you for having me on today.
Of course. You know, we just got done talking to Deroy Murdock, who wrote an op-ed for Fox News saying that this is Bernie's $3.5 trillion budget. Is this a socialist's dream, what the Democrats are trying to get through Congress right now?
It's everything that AOC and Bernie want. And you said $3.5 trillion. We were really rating it 4.3 or to 5.2 by the time they'd cut all the deals and everything like that. And, you know, it's the most expensive piece of legislation in U.S. history, you know, and it's $630 billion for things like the Green New Deal, $100+ billion for amnesty for 10 million illegal immigrants. Notice I said illegal immigrants. Yeah. $80 billion to the IRS to double the number of agents to target us so they can try to collect all these fees. You know, it includes let me see, 2.1 trillion in new taxes on American families. Everything that we did with the tax reform bill that drew industry to the United States, this will drive it out. Everything we've done through COVID to protect small business will break the backs of small business. And every 2/3 of the employer tax increases will be on the lowest and middle income tax people. It's unbelievable. And by the time 2027 rolls around, more than 85% of all taxpayers will get no benefit or will experience a great big tax increase.
Yeah.
You know, not counting that adds 2.4 trillion to the debt.
No kidding. And, you know, Congressman, I know that you have people who are contacting you from your district there, the 12th district in Illinois, who are concerned about this. But Nancy Pelosi herself, listen to what she has to say.
It's not about a dollar amount. The dollar amount, as the president said, is zero. This bill will be paid for. It's about what are the values that we share and how we prioritize them. And that is the place that we will go.
Does Nancy Pelosi believe what she's saying, or is she manipulative enough that she knows what to say to get enough support for this, suggesting that the dollar amount is zero?
Well, let me tell you that they'll do anything. Remember, the end justifies the means. So that means they'll tell you half truths or bold-faced lies. And remember, she did the same type thing with Obamacare, sacrificing their own members. And as Newt Gingrich described in an interview the other day, she doesn't do arm twisting. She just breaks their arms. Yeah. And that's what she's trying to do to get her Democrats on board. And she's having to work to do that. But we as Republicans shouldn't give them the opportunity to set anybody free when we start working on the infrastructure bill.
Is there potential that this doesn't make it through the House?
It is a potential that it doesn't make it through the House if we can hold people off the infrastructure bill. Okay, I believe that, because then it puts them in such a box that because their moderates refuse to support the infrastructure bill unless this passes. And what's really wild is I have people, look, there is nobody wants roads and bridges more, true infrastructure, roads, bridges, waterways, airplanes, rail, all of those things, Danny. That being said, true infrastructure. But we're not going to go ahead and move this bill that they have out there, which only includes about $189 billion of the two or 1.5 trillion that actually goes to that type of infrastructure, so that they can then move forward with this reconciliation bill. And then the people that tell us, oh, they're not tied together. Well, yes, they are. Nancy Pelosi said they were tied together. President Trump said they were tied together, and President Biden says they were tied together. I don't know who misunderstood anything that they said. Yeah. So if they're tied together, why would we give them one so they could have the other?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're speaking with Congressman Bost, represents Illinois' 12th district. We talk about a whole variety of issues here every day. There is, it's like pick your crisis. The southern border is a disaster. We're seeing in the House of Representatives today the hearing with the generals on the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was just a catastrophe. I'm curious, what is District 12 in Illinois concerned about right now, and how are you representing them?
Let me tell you, we're concerned about it from all of the above, but the ones that are contacting me. This Afghanistan crisis, let me tell you that as a Marine, what I would say is a private or an E1 in any military branch of service that has played a risk game one time would have done a better withdrawal than which this administration did. That being said, the lies that continue to flow, even in the hearing today, are beyond measure, or the lack of truth, or the lack of transparency. The problem is we have made ourselves into a situation where we're going to be in more danger in the long run than we would have if we would have kept a presence. Not an overabundance presence, but kept control of the airbase, kept control of forward eyes there, that we would have been able to see what's going on, not only in Afghanistan, but in Russia and China and all of the area. Now, let me also say this, that as we move forward, somebody's going to have to answer for all of this. And we've not got to go forward with a plan that's sensible, but also from my position as ranking member on the VA committee, and this is vitally important, we have to make sure that veterans understand who have served there over the last 20 years, their service was not in vain, that they protected us for 20 years from any serious attack like 9/11. Thank them so much for their service. Thank them and thank those gold-starred moms, dads, spouses for the loss that their family have taken to keep us safe. So veterans are hitting my office. When you say what's happening in the Illinois 12, we're still working to try to get some people out that are still there through our office. We're also working with our veterans that are feeling some very, very serious threats to themselves by themselves. Our hotline for the veteran suicide hotline had a 7% uptick since the started falling apart in Afghanistan. And that doesn't just include Afghanistan veterans, that includes Vietnam veterans. The chat lines are up like 70%. So these are issues, not counting the fact that we're still trying to deal with the other issues. Like I said, infrastructure is important. People want to see roads and bridges fixed, but they want to see it fixed in a way that it doesn't all of a sudden drag their grandchildren down to a point of no return. We have to make the investments we have to make. And trying to deal with an administration that's failing on every front is very, very tough.
You're so right. Congressman Bost joining us right now. I want to ask you, I don't know how much of the hearing yesterday you were able to observe, but you've referenced the one today that was in the House as well. I see a consistency. It seems as though there's the way these questions are being asked, specifically from the Democrats, is they want to say the president makes the decision was made. Let's put that behind us. And then we'll just talk about the withdrawal. But also there is this commendation for, a constant, I guess, badge of pride for this being the largest evacuation in a 17-day total span of time. And they're kind of lording it like it's a success. But we've had a tragic loss of life here and there. How is that possibly something that we're pumping up right now?
Let me tell you that this is the best explanation of how crazy that is. When do you ever let someone brag about how great they manned the lifeboats if they sunk the ship?
Amen.
And that's where, because they sunk the ship. And now they're bragging about how they manned the lifeboat. You know what? I'm glad we got as many out as we did. But don't lie and say there's only 100 Americans left there, because I know what our numbers are, and they're a lot higher than that. I don't know what the final number is. I hear them everywhere from 1,200 to 1,800, 1,000, not counting those Afghan interpreters and our friendlies that are being murdered every day that you can see, that are being beheaded. And I'm going to tell you, one of our best colleagues to talk about this, and it was on the question panel today, is Mike Bost. Mike is, he's a guy that's been there 4 times as a Green Beret. He knows the ins and outs of what a forward observance has to be, why we're in danger now, more in danger than we were then, and why it is we won't and should not have left any of our people behind. And on every front, they are lying to us, because we know each one of our officers are working to try to get them out.
Yeah. Yeah, Senator Blumenthal in his questioning yesterday said, I want to know why I'm chartering planes to get people out of Afghanistan. Of course, his solution was to create like an evacuation czar. I'm like, maybe instead of needing to do this, we figure out a way to fix that instead of creating more government to evacuate people when we screw up so royally. But the American people right now, they have a lot of questions about this administration. Who's calling the shots? Who's in charge? What is the president's role in this? In leading this government? People are questioning Joe Biden, and these hearings are not pinning it on him.
I think the best question that was asked, one of the best questions asked today, and there's a lot of them, is, okay, and it was by Mike Johnson, and basically what he said is, we are being very clear, because even though you're saying you can't say the conversations you had, you said that on your writings and what you supported, you were down to 2,500 if you were going to support the air base, but you couldn't do that because he wanted to go down to 0 or 650 first, but you couldn't protect, and but yet they did the interview that he did, and he says, what we need to know is did you not inform him, or is he lying, or worse than that, did you tell him and he simply forgot, which is a bigger problem.
Yeah. You think the American people have this, if they have those concerns, are they paying attention and seeing what other people are seeing?
I hope they are. Let me tell you what I've discovered is that unless it affects your household, or you are a person that just follows along like you and I, until something affects your household, it doesn't bring up a red flag. So that's why I'm saying that this bill that is being proposed by the Democrats, it's going to affect everyone's pocketbook.
Yeah.
Not slightly, more than we've ever seen if it passes. And it is also going to affect us, and I pray that it doesn't. I really pray that my predictions are not true. I pray that the generals' prediction not true, where they're saying 18 months to 3 years, then we're going to be in worse shape than we were when we got hit at 9/11. My fear is that they will be able to hit the homeland without us having a forward observers to try to slow that down. We don't know how many times over the last 20 years that we've had troops in places where we don't know where troops are, monitoring communications, monitoring travel, monitoring moving of weapons by people who could mean harm to this nation the exact same way they did that harm on September 11th, 2001. Because why? Because when it doesn't happen, it's our intelligence and our military that has already taken care of it, and we don't ask questions. If it comes across that line and we don't have them in place, it may be too late to ask questions.
Well, you need to make sure that you keep us informed of that, and the American people need to know what's going on, because we have an election that is, really, it'll be here before we know it. And the American people are going to need to speak up in a very, very loud capacity come November of 2022. And that season is starting shortly.
This is vitally important. We are required in Congress to do oversight, whatever committee we're on. That's why I do. That's why I check all the VAs out. That's why we do everything like that. But if the persons you have placed in charge, the chairmanship and the speakership, are not doing that oversight because they're trying to appease an administration, that's when you're going to get in trouble. So how do you cure that? You change the people that are doing the oversight and make sure that Republicans take majority next time out.
Yep. And it's well within sights. It could be a massive shift, and I think it should be.
It is.
All right.
And
we appreciate your time here, and we want to stay in touch with you so that we can continue to follow this bill. If it fails, what happens next? There's so many things that are going to be coming down the pike here, and we really appreciate your insight, Representative.
Whatever comes up in the next few days, you want to talk, just reach out. We'll talk anytime. Thank you.
Sounds good. Brad's on it. Thank you, Congressman Bost there with Illinois' 12th district, highlighting a lot of concerns that everyday Americans can see with their own eyes about this administration, the Afghanistan withdrawal. I mean, I know that it's, I don't know if it's like nerdy, like Brad has the Capitol contact phone number in his phone.
It's not nerdy. I'm a concerned citizen.
Yeah.
I'm actively engaged in self-governance, and everybody else should be as active as I am.
That's what nerds say about their nerd habits.
Would we not be a better country?
We would be. I wish I were more like you. And people are commenting on the live stream here. They're like, I have all of my representatives' phone numbers in my phone. So I love all of you, and I have some of my representatives' phone numbers in my phone. And a lot of times when I call them, nobody will pick up and talk to me. Why is that? Why won't they talk to me? Maybe that's why I don't have them in my phone. If you missed the full conversation there with Congressman Bost, you definitely are going to want to podcast that one. That was a really interesting take on the spending bill, but also the hearing that's taking place in the House today, and concerns that we all have about this administration, who's in charge and how well are they in charge. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Wiggins America, probably. I told him twice. I think you told him once. What do you think he's going to be in?
I think he'll be in.
Let's not go get him.
And just see what happens.
And I will do Wiggins America as if I were Ryan Wiggins if he's not in here.
Do you have a Wiggins voice?
No.
Oh.
I can't. He's probably hearing us say this outside, and he's probably going to not come in now just to see what happens next. I don't know what's going to happen next. You're just going to have to stick around and see. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show. The Mark Reardon Show.
Congressman Jason Smith is my guest.
I want to remind everyone, the Democrats control the White House, they control the House, they control the Senate. Every crisis we are facing right now in this country is because they are allowing it to happen.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Have a second floor or area of your home that is always hot or just not comfortable? Air Comfort Service has been solving comfort problems for 52 years. Contact them for a solution. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
These are the final days, the final hours of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. You have until Saturday at 6 p.m. to take advantage of 5 years zero interest financing. That's on any purchase. Buy now, spread your payments over 5 whole years with zero interest. Response has been incredible, but this amazing offer comes to an end on Saturday and will not be extended. Don't miss the year's best buying opportunity at Diamonds Direct. 5 years zero interest through Saturday at 6 p.m. Get directions, details, and more now at diamondsdirect.com.
Well, I'm really disappointed that Ryan just walked into the studio, so I don't get to do that segment. So you're going to want to stick around, although he told me that he did think about sitting outside. You did.
You're absolutely, you got it exactly
Nailed.
right.
I know
you
you
knew exactly what I was thinking.
Well, she's going to talk like that. I'm just going to sit out here and just see what she's going to do.
I'm going to leave now then.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Because
you're
then,
in a live right now.
I am. This is about air comfort.
Okay.
Corey, I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, if you are looking to make sure that your furnace is working correctly this winter, you're going to want to make sure that you get that maintenance done. That tune-up on your furnace is something that you want to get done now so that you're not doing it in an emergency later. For instance, we had put it off and our furnace went out on us right after Christmas. Literally, we discovered that the furnace wasn't working while we were opening presents at my in-laws' house. Because when they came in and put in this new system in our house, we can change the temperature. I love smart thermostats. They are such a game changer. We looked at it and it was 50 degrees in our house 2 days after Christmas, and we were going to have to go home with 3 kids, and I was pregnant. That was no bueno. So I had them come out. They did an emergency visit and they gave us the options of what we needed. You can avoid all of that if you just go with the maintenance that you need to make sure that things are functioning carefully. reach out to Air Comfort Service, talk to them about hearing them on the Annie Frey Show, and ask them what is best for you. They will give you options. If you need some work done on it, they will give you a great price. And they are people who you can trust in your home with your budget and with the care of your HVAC system. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. AirComfortService.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group for the last Protecting Your Retirement educational event of the year. It's Tuesday, October 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Register online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Will you be able to retire with confidence and maintain the same lifestyle as you are now? Are you facing losing your job due to a mandatory vaccination requirement, and you'd like to know your options on rolling over your company retirement plan? Are you concerned how inflation could affect the stock market in a big way? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k or company plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 or older, you don't want to miss the last event of the year.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, along with me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, Tuesday, October 5th at 6:30 at the Frontenac Hilton. Call 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help him find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for ThrottleNet. And if you need new IT service and you're a small business owner, or you just need better IT service, why wouldn't you check out ThrottleNet? They won Best in Customer Service from Small Business Monthly this past January, Best in Cybersecurity in Small Business Monthly in February. Ransomware has been huge, unfortunately, on the rise through the pandemic. And ThrottleNet has saved clients $2.6 million in ransom. So they protect against ransomware by providing a tool set that provides cybersecurity training for employees, identifying and quarantining an infected machine from the network, and the equipment will recover in less than 24 hours. Take advantage of a great offer. The first 30 days with ThrottleNet are free. There's no onboarding fees if you leave in the first 30 days. ThrottleNet will pay you $1,000 for your trouble. And after the first 30 days, no contracts, they're month to month. Check out ThrottleNet online. Use the 97.1 connection, throttlenet.com/971. Throttlenet.com/971. Get started today.
Up to the minute traffic reports, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Wasn't enough. I'm like, forget you and forget her too. Said if I was richer, I'd still be richer.
You know, you get these songs and you get excited to play them on the radio, and you know that there's some special words in them. And I take care to make sure I get the edited versions, but it always makes me pucker a little bit.
Makes you pucker, eh? Not the word I was expecting you to use there.
Oh, you think you know everything about me?
I think I do, actually.
As well as I know you?
Yes.
Yeah?
I mean, we've worked together for long enough now.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't expect the pucker there.
Just keeping you on your toes. Yeah. Are you ready for Wiggins?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins! I was asking Brad, but I probably should have asked you, Wiggins.
Yeah, because if I'm not ready, what's going to happen? You're going to play that sound, and I'm just going to walk out the door like you told me I should.
Make fun of you for 8 minutes.
Well, what's new with that then?
Let's not.
Let's do a different Wiggins America today. It's a different time, different subject.
This is Wiggins South America.
This is Wiggins South America. It is the middle of the night.
That's why we have the
Is that the way
music.
this works? No, I don't think that's the way. That's not the way that works.
Those time zones are
The
like
toilet's
vertical.
flushing the opposite way.
They change with the rotation.
I know that happens.
You meant like swirls. I was thinking like up. And I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I just not know.
Yeah. Go to the
Yeah.
bathroom on the ceiling. It's weird down there.
It's weird in Wiggins, America.
It's
that's for
always
darn
weird in
sure.
Wiggins, America. So let's talk about the Cardinals, you guys.
Oh, I can do that.
Is that cool?
17.
Man, I there's so many things that I was like, oh, I want to talk about this, but I'm so excited about the Cardinals right now. I think all of St. Louis is having a really terrific moment at this moment.
I do too. I think this is big for the city. Cardinals Twitter, I don't know if you follow Cardinals Twitter at all.
Yeah.
Cardinals Twitter can be notoriously toxic. When I say Cardinals Twitter, I mean just fans.
The
of Cardinals.
comments,
Right.
yeah.
It can be notoriously toxic. They're very like, we have, you're laughing because you know
No,
I'm
I'm
part of it.
laughing at something completely
Oh, okay.
different. I'll tell you.
She's laughing at this hilarious joke she just thought of.
But anyway,
Ryan Loffer Wiggenstein.
What's that from Facebook?
We're gonna do that one tomorrow. Thanks, Michael.
Oh.
Carry on.
all right.
Cardinals
So
Twitter.
anyway, they have been negative all year. It's been bad because the team hasn't been achieving what they thought that they should.
Well, they were bad.
They were.
I mean, like you remember that who hit the walk-off grand slam? Was that
Which
Brewers?
one? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
against the Brewers. It was that big guy. What is his name? He looks like
Yes, I
a Tuesday
know.
night softball player.
Bartolo Colon.
No, but he's about the same size as him.
But I mean that we were winning that game easily.
Mm-hmm.
And it just ended in the
was-
way only the 2021 St. Louis Cardinals could lose that game. And we're 17 games into a winning streak. It is crazy.
Vogel song.
Yes.
Vogel song.
That's what's wild is that I have lost for probably the first 30 something years of my life. I love the Cardinals so much. It was like you made plans around Cardinal games, or at least around the radio, so you were near one. But for the last 5 years or so, I don't know what it is, whether it's having kids or just a different era of life. COVID certainly hasn't helped because it went away for a while. You think this is real funny if you're watching the webcam. Annie is dying, and nobody can figure out why. But
Just keep going. You're doing fine.
yeah, thank you. I know. This has completely changed. This has completely changed. I don't know what you do. I really don't. This has completely changed my interest in Cardinals because you're right. This whole season has been such a waste that I was like, I don't feel bad about not paying attention, because for a few years I almost felt guilt, like I was turning my back on a former lover or something. Like I should be paying more attention to the
You
Cardinals.
and I have a different relationship with Cardinals baseball.
Yes. Well, you love the
I
Cardinals.
love Cardinals baseball, but like
Maybe
I
this
wouldn't.
was complicated because you were overcomplicating
I
it.
think it was.
I think describing it as a former lover is a little much.
Well, you're right, but it was it's complicated is how I would define my relationship with the Cardinals, and nothing the Cardinals did. I think it's just been life stuff for me, and the whole politicization of sports I don't like, but that's not the only thing. I think it's been a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right.
Tell me about it.
If you're in that same boat, if you're like me and you've lost interest in sports in general or the Cardinals in specific, this has completely changed that. I can't wait for the game tonight. I mean, I'm like, what am I doing? Cancel it. I want to do that instead.
Yeah. Well, it's like the city, and Annie, maybe you'll agree with me on this,
Mhm.
but it's like the city's been looking for a win of some sort.
Humanity has been looking for
Yeah,
a win.
Agreed.
There just needs to be something positive that's not and I mean I'll tell you this. I posted, I don't know, it was maybe like 13 games in a row that we won. I was like, oh yay, shared it to the Facebook page, and someone's like, you're not supposed to be supporting Major League Baseball. Blah, 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 blah. They wrote that out exactly as a direct quote.
Is that what that sound effect when it's just letters all together?
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, no, I'm supporting the Cardinals. I still like the Cardinals. I criticize and still criticize the ridiculousness of the MLB pulling out the All-Star game from a city that is a huge celebration of Black culture and business and entrepreneurship and all of this stuff. And they stupidly put it in Colorado because Colorado didn't have anything going on anymore. So they put it in Denver. It's just so stupid. I completely agree with that. But the Cardinals, to me, that's not the entity that did that. And the players are not the part of the entity that did that, in my mind. Am I justifying something because I just want it to be the case?
Yes.
Emphatically, Ryan nods his head.
Yes, you are.
I disagree.
Well, some players did kneel for the anthem and stuff, and I hate that crap.
Well, but listen,
but they didn't do it as a team.
Kneeling for the anthem. How many times has that taken place for the St. Louis Cardinals?
They kind of botched it once at the beginning of the 2020 season.
Wasn't there we're going to do this. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it one time, and they did it.
Right, and they didn't even do it well.
Correct.
Because they
what did they half kneel?
Yeah,
I fell down.
Yeah,
it's like when you decide to go off the high dive, and you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm really going to do it, and then you panic and you accidentally fall off.
Yeah,
you did it, but
it
didn't look good.
Yeah,
okay.
It was like they didn't know exactly when to do it, and we were going to do
and
it.
When it comes, a lot of people criticize Jack Flaherty. He's very outspoken on Black Lives Matters issues. It's personal to him. He is biracial, so. People don't, I've heard people criticize him for speaking out on this, and generally speaking, that's the tie-in to the St. Louis Cardinals. If he's doing it on his own time, and if he's not shoving it in my face while I'm taking in a baseball game, because while I believe that Black Lives Matter, I don't believe in the political organization that has hijacked people's emotions.
You believe in the phrase.
Yes, the sentence.
Of course.
But I also adore Adam Wainwright for first and foremost speaking his faith.
How incredible.
He is an advocate for adoption. He adopted a little boy like 2 years ago, I think, going into COVID. And when he gets in front of a microphone and he says something like about his faith, that has to chafe people who get sick and tired of hearing that from time to time. But Adam Wainwright gets to say that. And I think that if it chafes me, if we're asking about pitching to a different pitcher and he's talking about a cause that's very important to him and he uses that as an opportunity, I think you either get it all or you get none of it. And I would rather, in all cases, have more speech, have more opinion, have more discussion so that we can make decisions for ourselves. And I am not all or nothing on these things because you cannot live life. There's nothing that you purchase that doesn't have a political angle somewhere or another.
Here's how much I've been paying attention this season. Up until 17 games ago. Is Flaherty even pitching right now?
He did. 1 inning. Didn't go great.
Okay.
We might see him here before the season's over. Stick around. 2:00 hours coming around. We're going to have some fun. Don't go away.
Mark Cox here. If it's time to sell your home, you need to talk to my friend Gloria Liu with GL International Realty and the Coldwell Banker Premier Group. Check this out. Gloria sold a home on Sulphur Avenue in St. Louis for $14,000 over asking price in just one weekend. That was almost 10% over the asking price. Tom and Marion were thrilled. They dealt with Gloria Liu. She sold their home in South County for $16,000 over asking price with multiple offers in just 2 days. Who you work with makes a big difference. That's why you need to have Gloria Liu on your side. She has the buyers, she pre-markets your home, and it drives up demand. Home sellers have lots of agent options, but does your agent offer upfront written guarantees? That's why you need to talk to my friend Gloria Liu. Call the realtor I trust and recommend. Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Have you always dreamed of a lush green lawn? Get that beautiful curb appeal without the hassle by calling Professional Irrigation Systems. They'll install your new automatic lawn sprinkler system and give you a variety of options and warranties. Don't spend half your day lugging a hose around watering your lawn. Let Professional Irrigation Systems do the work for you. They offer spring activations, backflow testing, mid-season tune-ups, and winterization. Call the pros that have been in business for 20 years. Professional Irrigation Systems. Online at proirrigation.com.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc. from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visit your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Dug in D.C., Elisa Brady, Fox News. A debt debate is eating up time on Capitol Hill, where Fox's Jared Halpern is live.
Republicans and Democrats are holding firm on their positions over increasing the debt limit.
Time is short. The danger is real.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has been blocked by Senate Republicans on measures to suspend the debt limit. GOP leaders say Democrats can amend a reconciliation package that proposes $3.5 trillion in spending to also increase the debt ceiling without Republican help.
The responsibility to govern rests squarely on their shoulders.
Top House Ways and Means Committee Republican Kevin Brady, without an extension of the borrowing limit, the Treasury Department says resources will be exhausted by October 18th. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. The House debating a standalone bill to address the debt limit. The Senate plans to prep a separate stopgap funding measure to avoid a government shutdown tomorrow night. President Biden's been meeting with lawmakers trying to iron out Democrat differences over his spending plans. The White House saying moments ago they're at a precarious, important time in discussions on legislation. In the ongoing effort to get more Americans and Afghans out of Afghanistan, the State Department now says it will screen passengers on a private charter flight out of Kabul currently stuck in the United Arab Emirates for possible travel to the U.S. Congress is still analyzing what could have or should have been done differently.
I think the effort to get the SIVs and the others who wanted to get out of Afghanistan certainly could have been handled better and could have been started sooner. It certainly seemed rushed.
Democratic Congressman Adam Smith chairs the House Armed Services Committee, where top Pentagon officials testified today. Withdrawing all U.S. troops undermined confidence in the Afghan government and helped lead to its swift collapse. But they also echoed the White House argument that leaving 2,500 troops would have been unsustainable, risking war with the Taliban. America is listening to Fox News.
I miss my baby, someone stole my baby. By the way, my baby is my landscaping truck that was literally stolen from a job site. Baby, won't you please come home?
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but with 30-plus customizable coverage options, Progressive Commercial keeps your business humming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I love my sweetheart. By the way, that's my riding lawnmower.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
If you think vaccines alone will protect you from COVID-19, think again. More breakthrough cases of COVID variants show that vaccinated people are still vulnerable to the deadly disease. To be safe, monitor regularly for fever, as it's the leading sign of COVID-19. Use Exergen, the only thermometer scientifically proven to detect fever, and beware of non-contact devices that miss 5 out of 6 fevers. Remember, vaccines are not enough, so protect yourself and your family with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Summertime still hanging on across St. Louis. Lots of sunshine. 90 for the high this afternoon. 97 is the record. Nowhere near that. Tonight, clear skies in the 80s. 68 for the warm overnight low. Wednesday, still a hot day. 88 Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny skies. But we cool back with changeable skies. Couple of showers on Thursday and 80. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's not about left versus right. It's about wrong versus right.
All over this country, people are being led to believe that you had Border Patrol agents whipping Haitians. That's not stopping Biden from saying, we're going to go after these guys because they want another distraction.
Right here, right now.
Conjures up images, even though it has nothing to do with slavery, and it wasn't even a whip.
This is 97.1.
Question of how one uses the horse.
Racist horse.
FM Talk.
Worried about what you're breathing in? With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is the present? Well, it's the perfect time to call Golden Oak to find out how much money you can save.
Who are you? I'm future you.
And I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Home values are up, which means you have more equity than you think. A refinance now could be the best gift you could give your future self.
Thanks, me.
At Golden Oak, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. With a cash-out refi, you could finish a home project, pay off credit cards, or even consolidate bills. The present is a gift, especially if it comes with extra cash in your pocket. So take advantage of our low 2.25% rate. Visit GoldenOakLending.com today.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. 11737 Administration Drive, St. Louis, Missouri.
So Lakeside Renovation and Design, you can find them online at lakesidrenovationanddesign.com. I love looking at homes in the fall. And if you've been out kind of getting your house ready on the outside for winter to set in, that just seems crazy. We're less than 3 months from Christmas, folks. If you've been looking at the outside of your home and you know that it's time to address the dingy siding or you're sick and tired of painting and all of that, have you considered James Hardie Siding? If you have, you need to go with the people who are special. They're specialists when it comes to James Hardie Siding. Lakeside Renovation and Design, they are the go-to people in St. Louis for making sure that it gets done the right way the first time. It's a big investment and it's well worth it, but you want to make sure that the people installing it know what they're doing. Obviously, Lakeside Renovation and Design are the trusted name for full-scale remodels inside your home and outside of your home. If you're looking for James Hardie Siding, if you're looking for infinity window replacement or a new custom front entry doorway to spruce up your house for the fall, for the winter, check out Lakeside Renovation and Design online at lakesidrenovationanddesign.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Right now you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Join the conversation digitally. Download the Odyssey app and tune into the #1 talk station in St. Louis at any time. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, River Views, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Have you guys heard what Matt Walsh is doing here lately?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Have you seen this?
It's so funny.
So I am looking up here so I can read from like a reputable publication other than me just going, well, I read on Twitter. This is from Fox News. Conservative commentator accuses Loudoun County School Board of being child abusers. I'm going to play this sound for you here in just a minute. He was going to go speak at this school board meeting. And they said, you can't speak at this school board meeting. You're not a resident. So he got a lease and became a resident.
Well, that was actually the latest thing. They really didn't want him to speak. So they tried to change the rules about who could speak and who couldn't speak, but they didn't go through the proper channels. So he fought it that way. And then they moved the speaking time to coincide with the rally, thinking that they wouldn't move the rally. Then they moved the rally, and then he rented somebody's basement
for $1.
For $1 so he could speak.
So Matt Walsh has a way. It's different than everybody else's way.
Yes.
What percentage of time do you think that, Ryan, you agree with what Matt Walsh was saying?
I don't know, 98?
It's high.
It's high.
Yeah. Brad?
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Pretty high for me, too. I'll roughly estimate it at 9 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, yep. His methodology, not my style, but it's effective in getting the word out. You know, the way he goes about saying things. Basically, I try to treat my entire job here as somebody who can have a conversation with you as a listener right now, feeling like we're having this conversation together, to engage people who are, you know, around the spectrum of political thought, not all right leaning. Of course, I'm conservative. If you've listened to the show at all, you know that I'm conservative. But I take this show and this responsibility as my opportunity to explain my perspective on things. Whereas a lot of the other places that you can listen to people talking about politics on either side, be it on cable news, network news, talk radio, the majority of those shows which are entertainment are telling you how to think. They're not telling you why this is how I think. It's very aggressive and in your face. And I don't take to that myself, and I don't want to do that to people who are listening to me. So if you don't have any conservative friends, I would love to be your conservative friend that you disagree with, but you get to pull the curtain back on something you're not exposed to very much by listening to me, and I don't make you want to gouge your eyes and ears out or off by the time the show gets over. That's not Matt Walsh's style. He wants to make people combust that don't agree with him.
And he's good at it.
But he's very good at it.
He's really good at it. Like when he's saying things, I'm ducking so people don't throw things at me. And I'm like, I agree with you, but I'm scared.
I like following him and his wife on Twitter.
His wife is the bomb. She's on Twitter just to make fun of Matt Walsh.
Yes, that's her sole purpose on there.
Have you ever seen her tweets?
I think I've only seen them in the context of him retweeting them.
Alyssa or
Alyssa Walsh.
Yeah, go follow her and tell her the Annie Frey Show. So did you hear what he said?
I've got the tweets pulled up.
Did you hear what he said at the school board meeting?
Oh, did he speak again? Or is this the original?
No, this is the second time. This is the one.
I haven't heard the new one.
I cut the audio, so yeah.
So the first time that you're talking about, Ryan, tell me what happened then.
He just got up and basically raised hell about the mask mandates, right?
This was a week ago or a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was maybe a month ago.
Was this June or
It was over the
April,
summer. Yeah,
like
you were
when
not here.
Frey did Signs of the Apocalypse and you were like, oh, she's been dead to the world for a fourth of this year. Let's pull this story from June. She won't even know. I'm like, this happened in Texas. You're like, it did.
Yes. Signs of the Apocalypse. Here's something Matt Walsh might have said.
So and I think was that first school board meeting in Tennessee? That's where his home is
Yeah.
now. So, his Twitter is hilarious because he's like starting every tweet with, as a Virginia resident.
I know.
Which is it's so funny.
That's what's funny.
Because Virginia is my home, so on and so forth. This is what he said. In Virginia, it's Loudoun is the name of the county. The Loudoun County School Board is sitting here listening to him bring.
I would thank you all for allowing me to speak to you tonight, but you tried not to allow it, yet here I am. Now, you only give us 60 seconds, so let me get to the point. You are all child abusers. You prey upon impressionable children and indoctrinate them into your insane ideological cult, a cult which holds many fanatical views, but none so deranged as the idea that boys are girls and girls are boys. By imposing this vile nonsense on students to the point even of forcing young girls to share locker rooms with boys, you deprive these kids of safety and privacy and something more fundamental too, which is truth. If education is not grounded in truth, then it is worthless. Worse, it is poison. You are poison. You are predators. I can see why you try to stop us from speaking. You know that your ideas are indefensible. You silence the opposing side because you have no argument. You can only hide under your beds like pathetic little gutless cowards hoping we shut up and go away. But we won't. I promise you that. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.
It's like a threat.
Is that the original or the new one?
This is just happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is him as a Virginia resident paying $1 of rent for his friend's basement. People on Facebook are saying, is this going to get you kicked off YouTube? I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. Like to do what if I was completely on the left and I was like for everything that the far left is for, and I played that clip and then I railed on it? Is the YouTube algorithm going to shut me down because Matt Walsh existed on my show on the Anti-Fry YouTube channel?
No, for the left, they have somebody live interpreting what you said, probably.
That's true. We are one strike in. Thank you, Ryan Wiggins.
You're
I went
welcome.
back and watched the show because I was going to appeal it. I didn't appeal it. I'm like, no. They gave us a strike for the way Ryan was talking about COVID while I was gone, and you were covering things. You were playing sound from a doctor who was talking about ways to treat it and all this stuff. Just basically, you weren't reading from the copy points.
Right.
And YouTube was like, well, we're not going to have any of that. And it's in their rules. Their rules are their rules, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I need you to not say anything bad right now.
I love Odyssey.
I love that. That's the most non-controversial, controversial thing you can
into
say.
your head.
As if Odyssey's the one doing
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say.
I should have said, I love Mark Zuckerberg.
Except he doesn't do YouTube.
Who's in charge of YouTube?
John
Catherine.
John Catherine.
Yeah, it starts with a W, but I can't pronounce
The
her last
devil.
name.
Is Matt Walsh's approach here in an effort to get people's attention? I'm going to tell you this. We had Ryan Cunningham on the show yesterday at 12:25. And then at 1:25, we had Illinois State Representative Blaine Wilhauer on. And they were talking about the mask mandates and how the state of Illinois is requiring all of these different things of Illinois residents, of students, of children, of employees. And they're not doing it with a foundational way to provide consequence if you don't do what they say. So basically, they're aggressively asking. That's what they're doing. And you can challenge them. I've got, I'm looking into this tweet. I think I sent this to you, Brad. I'm not 100% sure. I know that I saved it, so I'm going to pull it up here. But the conversation among people in the ISBE, which is the Illinois State Board of Education, I think in February, talking about how these mask mandates, like they don't have any enforceable way to ensure that people follow them. They can't just punish you. And yet here we are. That's why when we talked with Blaine Wilhauer yesterday, that heavy-fisted way that the government comes at you and tells you need to do things without we can be told by our government what to do when they pass laws through a legislature that exists because we put those people there, and then the governor signs it. There is a way for them to get what they want. Do that. Don't just sit at the top and espouse what you want to have happen for whatever reason. And I refuse to believe that Governor Pritzker is driven by science. He's driven by politics.
Mm-hmm.
My question regarding Matt Walsh is, I don't communicate the way he does. I don't love it. But is it an important part of the fight and the battle to get people's attention, to let them know we're serious, to have someone like Matt Walsh communicating that way?
100%.
You think so?
I do. I think you need people out there being not necessarily jerks, but completely uncompromising so that they can stoke the debate and then other people can come along like us right now and have the debate. But without somebody out there basically it's the same thing Donald Trump did. He would throw up just a fireball and say, look at it. Everybody would, and then you're paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what he does. And I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, well, if you listen to the way what he said, he threw a fireball.
Yeah.
Hit some information, about education needing to be founded in truth, which I absolutely agree with. And if it's not founded in truth, it's worthless. And then he threw another fireball at him. It's kind of like when you give somebody a compliment or you correct them. You start with a compliment. This is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
But it makes space for
Effective
people.
nonetheless.
I mean, yeah, it's effective. We're having the conversation now. There are other people that are going to talk about it. Sure, some people are going to be turned off by the abrasive nature of it, but it makes space for the conversation to happen.
Let me ask you this. Does the left communicate the way Matt Walsh does?
There are some people who do.
Oh, absolutely.
Robert Reich, you ever heard of him? You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're laughing because you know?
Yeah.
That's him to me. He is abrasive and he makes my stomach churn to read his stuff, but it does work.
I feel like we were talking before the show, Brad. I walked into our office back there. He goes, "Are you fighting with people on Twitter?" I'm like, "No, but they're all fighting with me." I put a tweet out there and then somebody comes after me and will say like the most hateful things back to me. And it's like, I don't know you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not here to fight with you. But here we are. And you're saying some incredibly aggressively rude and offensive things to me while criticizing me for being a Christian. What standards do you have to play by that I don't have to play by, or vice versa?
Well, that's what's frustrating is that you can go back over the vaccine era has shown this very, very obviously.
Yes, that's what it's usually about.
Where you can look specifically at that issue and just type in some vaccine into the person's profile and see them back in the end of 2020 going, I would never take this vaccine. It's Donald Trump's vaccine. And then within a year, I want you fired from your job if you don't take this vaccine.
Yeah.
There's no standard.
The House Judiciary GOP Twitter account tweeted today, breaking. Whistleblower alleges that Border Patrol agents have been given official notice that they must be fully vaccinated by November 2021 or face termination. The Border Patrol agents are going to lose their jobs if they are not vaccinated, because we can really sacrifice people watching our southern border right now. The border agents are going to lose their jobs if they don't comply with a government mandate to get vaccinated by November 2021. And we have a flood of unvaccinated, untested, undocumented people coming across the border. And we don't care. And you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to mention it. But the Border Patrol agents are going to lose their jobs if they choose not to get it. So I retweeted that. I just said, put a tent on the circus. Little circus tent emoji. It's one of my favorite phrases. This person replies with, go promote horse paste to your unsophisticated base and stop whining if you ain't going to help fix it. What?
Are you taking back your support of horse paste now?
I'd never spoken of it.
Oh, I'm real confused.
I don't even know if I've ever even mentioned anything in that realm.
Yeah.
But I mean, that person was motivated to try to ruin my day. And I'm really sorry. I kind of chuckled. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. I know you want to ruin my day, but you don't get to. Like, you just don't have the ability to do that.
Not only did they not ruin your day, they gave you content and helped make you money.
Well. You know, it does bother me, though, because the issue that you brought up, which is what you were actually tweeting about, has real world consequences, not only for the people who are going to end up getting fired because they don't fall in line, but for our southern border. And I've said this before, when it started with, we're going to make the military do it. I think what they're doing with any government job, especially, is they're looking for ideological purity. They don't care about the vaccine. They're trying to get rid of anybody who disagrees with them, which would include a lot of people on the right.
The interesting thing about that tweet that he came and attacked me, when I said put a tent on this circus, if he didn't dig into my profile or, see other things, maybe I could be saying, wow, it's a circus that these Border Patrol agents won't get vaccinated. Why aren't they all vaccinated? He doesn't know, but he's looked at my profile. I say on my Twitter profile that I'm a Christian. That is it's that or supporting Trump, which I very much so appreciated Trump's presidency. I do not defend the things that Trump has done and said the way he says, and just the way I'm doing the Matt Walsh thing. Like, it doesn't make me comfortable and I don't love it. And I'm not going to do that. And I don't want to talk to people who are going to do that. I feel like I've been fair. I'm sure they don't agree with it. That's fine. But there is, to your point, Ryan, a disdain for an ideology that is anywhere outside of the bounds of what they have. And hate is in play against you because they're justified, because they don't believe what you believe. They can hate you.
And their ideology shifts. So even if you tried to play by the orthodoxy, you couldn't do it because it moves too much.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. I'm reading a lot of comments, too, coming in on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. We'll see how long we're up on YouTube. I mean, we talked about COVID today, the border. We'll see how long it lasts. Go subscribe to the Anti-Frey YouTube channel while you still can. I really want to stick it to them. And we're on Rumble now, which is really just plan B.
No, it's a good idea.
I'm trying to spread myself out as much as I can because I know I'm going to get bounced in one place, here, another. So I'm in a lot of places, but it's just so that I can stay connected with you. Stick around, more Anti-Frey Show in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I wake up knowing it could be my last. I ain't here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. So bring on the sunshine.
If it's happening in the world, the country, or the community, then it's happening here. This is where St. Louis comes to talk. And you've made it the #1 talk station in St. Louis. 97.1 FM Talk, the place for ideas.
The Fit and Food Connection builds strong minds and healthy bodies, providing education and healthy food to those in need. Join their annual Day of Wellness, Sunday, October 3rd at their Project Sunflower Organic Garden. Learn more and make your contribution to healthier communities at fitandfoodconnection.org.
The med spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the med spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Barbecue is back. The 6th annual Q in the Lou Barbecue Festival returns October 1st through the 3rd to Keener Plaza in downtown St. Louis. Enjoy award-winning barbecue from pitmasters from across the country. There'll be live music and cooking demos. Q in the Lou is free to enter. Barbecue, drinks, and more will be available for purchase, or upgrade your experience with a Q in the Lou Pit Pass and enjoy 2.5 hours of all you can eat and drink. Visit qinthelou.com for information and tickets.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Come to the Enchanted Attic. Come to the Enchanted Attic. Come to the Enchanted Attic, and the mysteries of life shall be revealed. Gaze into a crystal ball to see your future. Breathe in the exotic fragrances of incense, candles, and essential oils. Adorn your body with jewelry encrusted with mystical gemstones from around the world. Why, many who enter the magical realm of the Enchanted Attic feel as though they have entered another dimension in time and space. But actually, in reality, they have just entered 304 South Main Street in historic St. Charles, home of the famous Enchanted Attic. This is Diane, and you need to come to the Enchanted Attic. It's mystical, magical, and a whole lot of fun. Open every day, free gift with purchase. You'll love this store.
Hello, Marvin Mitchell here from Compass Retirement Solutions. Did you know that the average 3-year CD rate in the area was less than 1%? That's why we are excited to offer you several accounts that are short-term and pay better than bank rates. For example, we currently have a 3-year account paying 2.4% and a 5-year account paying 3.5% per year guaranteed. What a great place for your lazy money. You know, the money that you don't plan to use for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, terms and conditions do apply. So for more information, call 314-373-1598. Again, call 314-373-1598. This is Marvin Mitchell, and we would like to put your lazy money to work for you. Call 314-373-1598.
Guarantees are backed by the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Rates can change without notice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Hi, this is Curtis Barks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair, here to tell you about our touchless automotive service. If you're experiencing the constant struggles of having the kids home from school or just want more of that family time where you can listen to them teach you about what they do every day, we provide touchless automotive service, return the vehicle to you clean and ready to go in the comfort of your own home. Check us out online at CompleteAB.com for more information. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the cars.
Son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Oh, I love this song. This is a song. It's called "Work, Lady" by Britney Spears.
Lady.
An instrumental version. In my mind, I'm seeing an Annie Frey Show workout video hosted by Ryan Wiggins.
Oh yeah. Am I wearing the Let's Get Physical stuff that she's wearing? I can't remember her name. Olivia Newton-John.
Do you have that?
Of course I do. You kidding me?
Brad's disappointed.
I mean, I only had headband in mind, but yeah, let's go. Let's do the whole thing. Throw it up on YouTube.
Brad,
Get us just kicked off forever.
It's not like you're new to the show. You've been listening to the show for a long time, but up to the point where you are uncomfortable, Ryan is so far past that line already. That's where Ryan resides. That line of being uncomfortable with things that make other people uncomfortable. He sprints past that line.
I do, and you should see me in regular life because I tone it down on the radio. No kidding.
Terrifying.
I do, man. I don't know. I've always been that way. Like, I love the rules, and then I love figuring out how far I can push past the rules just to make people uncomfortable.
Ryan, I was a substitute teacher for like 5 years.
So you had a lot of kids like that.
And I'm a youth minister.
Yeah. Every kid
Try
is like
me.
that.
He just called you a child.
I know. No, that
he just called you.
I haven't outgrown it.
Oh,
And it's fine. It makes me laugh.
Are
I
you-
decided not to get uncomfortable and just to think it was funny.
That makes one of us. Are you like surrounded by people like you? Are there more of you?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's the people who've kind of learned to weather it. I will real talk here. That aspect of my personality has hurt my career.
You don't say.
Because I've been this is my fourth major media environment that I've been in. And at every one of them, it has taken me abnormally long to earn the trust of the management.
It's because that Olivia Newton-John outfit.
Like I've been pitching Wiggins America for like 2 years. Here we are. I finally get a show because I just think that they are like,
is that
can I trust this guy?
Speak highly of 97.1 or
Oh, it's not 97.1. I mean, it is
Really?
everybody, and it is entirely based on me. I know that I'm the common denominator in this. It's not everybody else.
I can't make fun of that. That was like
Sorry.
that was such a mea
It was
culpa
so-
that I can't.
It's so real.
It doesn't feel good to tease
I mean, it's
you
real
for that.
talk. We're just
This is
bunch
not
of
real
girls
talk.
just chatting, right?
Bunch of girls. Yeah.
We're just gabbing.
So he was like really serious there for a second. We got real Ryan Wiggins,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh, we're too serious."
This is still real.
We
Right?
gotta-
Oh,
we
it'll
gotta-
get weird fast.
We got to turn this away to weird now.
Mark on YouTube. Hi, Mark. Says creepy Wiggins vibes.
Isn't that? But that's the point. That's the point of what
How
I'm
would
telling
you do, like? Okay, I'm sure you've never speed dated.
No, you'd be lucky to find out how late it was before I started actual dating for this very reason that we're talking about. Girls are like, "What is with this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can't handle it."
If you had I don't know anything about speed dating other than it exists because there are so many more trendy ways to date. When I dated, it was like in a bar, "Hey, baby," and I'm like, "Nope," and then that was speed dating.
Hey, baby.
I wish I could remember some of the pickup lines. The best one / worst one was, "Annie, you look so much like my first wife." And I go, "How many wives have you had?" "None yet." Oh, dang it.
Mhm.
Like I walked right into that, and I'm not usually one to walk into those things. So speed dating, if you sit down, how long do you get to sit and talk to someone? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 1 minute?
Is this real? I just see this on TV.
Oh no, it's real.
This
Like on Sex
actually-
in the City or something like that. Like
Wherever.
No, it's real.
This happens like in St. Louis. You could do speed dating here.
I mean, maybe speed dating has come and gone, but yes, I think so.
So you could have done it at some point. Maybe now. Okay.
Yeah,
How long do you have?
I don't know.
Let's say you have 3 minutes to sit down and you get to pitch yourself to a woman. What does that look like?
Good question. Here's my strategy if I were speed dating. I would sit down and I would just flash that patented beautiful smile of mine. And I would just let them talk first and see what happened. Like I'm just
Just
smiling.
sit there and stare at 'em.
Yeah.
Naturally.
But the way you do it is you'd say, "Enough about me." Like first thing, enough about me.
That's actually good. That's actually a good move.
Let's hear about you. And just let them talk. And then respond to whatever they said with some hilarious jokes.
You were batting 1,000 till the end. And then like the Cardinals sometime in July, they hit a grand slam against you in the bottom of the ninth. I can't imagine being in I mean, I don't know. I did not like dating. It was,
I didn't either.
I mean,
really
like,
didn't.
I don't know how to say this, but it was just too much work. You were saying before that you think you know me pretty well. And I said this to you yesterday. We were talking on the phone. I'm like, I'm a pretty real person. I'm not capable of faking my emotions towards people. And you're like, tell me about it.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday. You're like, let me tell you something about me. I'm like, Annie, you're blowing my mind here. I didn't know this about you.
I did a little bit of self-reflection after that phone call.
No, I would guess that you didn't like dating because you have incredibly, and people have said this to me too. And when you hear it, you think that sounds like a hit on you, but it's not. You have incredibly high expectations and standards of people. And if they don't meet them, you basically cross them off the list, which is what that's what dating is. No, that's what you do. That's what I did.
That's also what serial killers do.
Well, I'm not insinuating that you would murder them off your list.
Oh.
You would just say you're not going to be part of the potential dating pool.
You're not
for
a
me.
candidate.
Yes. I like the way you went immediately to
cross.
I would just murder them. Well, you're right about me. I do have high standards. Anybody who doesn't meet them, I kill.
Other than the murderous part of that, you are correct. I just don't like to waste other people's time or my own.
Oh, I love doing that.
I know. Literally, your presence on the show.
Yeah, it's a complete waste of time.
I feel like I'm somewhere like right in the middle of you two.
Yeah?
Because I don't like to waste people's time
It's because you're nice.
unless they deserve it. And so that's usually people on Twitter. And I will waste
Oh.
their time on Twitter.
This is a little passive aggressiveness.
No. It's not passive aggressive. It's full on
It's
aggressive.
aggressive.
What did I do? I turn on my mic?
Yeah, that was Ryan, not me.
I think that what I do is, it's been a while since I've dated, so it's hard to remember. But I would almost treat dating like it was a social experiment. Like, let's see what I can get away with in this. Not that I was trying to do anything malicious.
Well, that makes it about you.
Yes.
Which makes you not a good date.
No, not at all. No, but I mean, I wanted to make sure the other person was having fun, but I also would test them to see, can you handle the absolute ridiculousness with which I live my life half the time? And if the answer was no, it really is similar to what
baptism by fire.
Yeah. It's here are the standards. They're kind of stupid, but they still are mine and they're high. And if you can't meet them, then pretty quickly I'm going to know whether or not I should spend time with you. And if I don't know, then I do want to spend time with you to see if it would be fun.
I'm interested in talking about standards because I think that even what year did you get married in, Brad?
08.
So 08, 08,
7.
07. We got married
Like a month apart.
not to each
To
other.
different people.
But to different,
Yeah.
it was a different wedding completely.
We looked at each other and we said, nope,
No,
doesn't fit my standards.
Standards are way not compatible. But we both got married in the fall of 2007.
Yep.
Not to each other.
Not to each other.
But
Technically, mine was in the summer.
all of us in here have been married for about the same amount of time. When we come back, I want to talk about standards and what is acceptable in 2021. Like, what kind of standards can you hold people to? Because I think, I've been married for 14 years. You've been married for 14 years. You've been married for 13 years, Brad. I don't know that you get to have the same standards. Is it more important now than it ever has been before to have elevated standards? And if you do, are you going to be perpetually lonely? Let's talk about it when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Congressman Jason Smith.
Mark, it's good to see you in D.C. Let me tell you, the Taliban now is the most equipped military outside of the United States and China, and that rests under Milley's hands, that rests under Joe Biden's hands.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality water heater and AeroSeal duct seal services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for CertaPro Painters, and I'm going to help you knock a painting project off your fall to-do list right now. And the best part is you don't have to do the work. Fall is a great time to get some painting done, and CertaPro can help. On exterior jobs with the cooler weather, painting will protect your home from chipping, peeling, cracking, and fading, or refresh the inside of your home with CertaPro. The living room, the dining room, really any room. Schedule your free estimate today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, and they can get you on the schedule quickly. For your home or business, CertaPro Painters.
Stewart's America. Stop. I'm talking. Ryan, stop talking.
I didn't realize that.
No,
go ahead.
You got to be quiet.
Sorry.
Stewie needs me to talk about the bagel loan and his high standards for his customers.
It's all yours.
They're way higher than yours. Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the bagel loan. And when you go to Stewie and you give him a call, 314-324-4440, ask him how the bagel loan can help you, because your circumstances are going to be different than the next 97.1 listener that calls. I've done the bagel loan twice with Stewie, and I had different needs each time that I went and did the bagel loan. Why would I do it 2 times in 2 years? Because rates continued to go down, and I could use equity in my home to make improvements on my home. I can get that lower rate, which can help with a lower monthly payment. I could also shave years off the length of my loan so that I don't have to pay my mortgage for as long as I did before. Stewart's American Mortgage at 314-324-4440. That's how you get a hold of him, and ask him how the bagel loan can work for you. Why the bagel loan? Because it doesn't cost you anything to do it. He doesn't charge the fees that other lenders are going to charge you for, and you can't get it anywhere other than Stewart's American Mortgage. Call him or text him and make sure you tell him Annie said hello. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Online at stewartsamc.com, NMLS number 226715.
If you owed almost $28 trillion and you didn't have the money to pay it off, what would you need to do? Make a lot more money, right? Well, America's debt is almost $28 trillion, and right now, taxes are at historically low levels. It doesn't take a genius to realize taxes will probably go up. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes now on some of the money when rates are low, or later when rates are much higher? Whether you should pay taxes now or in retirement depends on a lot of things, and our team at Heisey Advisory Group knows what to look for. Plan now. Heisey Advisory Group can help you create a plan so your retirement is as tax efficient as possible. Call 314-328-6000. That's 314-328-6000 to set up a visit with our team. That's 314-328-6000. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call 314-328-7700.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Heisey Advisory Group may not give tax advice.
These are the final days, the final hours of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. You have until Saturday at 6 p.m. to take advantage of 5 years zero-interest financing. That's on any purchase. Buy now. Spread your payments over 5 whole years with zero interest. Response has been incredible, but this amazing offer comes to an end on Saturday and will not be extended. Don't miss the year's best buying opportunity at Diamonds Direct. 5 years zero interest through Saturday at 6 p.m. Get directions, details, and more now at diamondsdirect.com.
Hi, this is Tracy with Acropolis Technology Group. This message today is for those of you married to a just good enough or a bad IT company, but are afraid to break up with them because of how messy the last breakup was. I'm here to tell you, Acropolis is a great second, third, or even fourth marriage. As you probably experienced, switching is a real pain when the company doesn't know what they're doing. The memory of the last change is a bad one, so you put up with your current IT relationship until something really bad happens, and then, unfortunately, it's too late. We've started onboardings when a switch has been planned for months or as quickly as a few hours due to an untimely departure. Call us today for a free second opinion, and we would be happy to show you what the last 25 years of experience has taught us. Breaking up is hard to do, but we make it easy. Let us show you how our Protect, Optimize, and Grow strategy can help your business by visiting us on the web at acropolistech.com. That's acropolistech.com. We are employee-owned, and we are Acropolis Technology Group.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, that's when Billy would take me walking. Out through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Kind of an interesting song to go and talk about standards. Eric on our YouTube channel made a really good point. He said the difference is, because we're talking about what kind of standards are you allowed to have in 2021? We've all in this room been married for 13 or 14 years. So much has changed in that amount of time. Certainly when I got married, online dating had just begun existing. And I think that if I were dating now, that would be my preferred. Like, I would like to see your resume, please.
Mm-hmm.
Let me vet you. That's way different than hey baby in a bar. That's way different. But Eric says the difference is you dated with the purpose of a life together. People are now dating with the purpose of dating. It's not the same thing. Totally true.
True, but I don't think that's changed. I mean, when we were dating, yes, I think everybody in this room, based on the fact that we're all in the same faith, we're probably dating for the same reason, that is to find a spouse.
Yeah.
But it was the same back then. I mean, you had a ton of people who were not dating for anything other than that night.
But you got to find the people. I mean, first you got to find someone who's looking for the same thing you're looking for. Which,
yeah,
to what you're saying and what Eric is saying, is a significant other that's going to. I mean, of course you can date people without thinking, do I want to marry this person on date number one? But if it's not heading in that direction,
what's the point?
I mean, honestly, what is the point?
Yeah.
We sound old.
Yeah, we do.
Well, we all did the same thing. I mean, none of us, I don't know that anybody in this room has that sort of sowing their wild oats era. I mean, we all did it in our own way, but not in that regard.
Well, I didn't become a Christian until I was in my 20s.
I did when I was 20 or 21. So,
but I was never big in the dating scene because even before I was a Christian, I was like, what is the point? You know, what's the point? And if this is really what we're supposed to, like, why would I want a girlfriend as a freshman in high school other than just what everybody else is doing?
No, I agree. I mean, I didn't either. And I did grow up in the church, so I would have called myself a Christian, but I didn't like say I was, now I am absolutely Christian until I was 20. But like throughout high school, I saw guys and girls dating with the express purpose of basically hooking up. And it wasn't even like a faith issue for me. It was I don't even know what that is. Like that world confuses and scares me. Therefore, I'm going to avoid it and pretend it doesn't exist.
And maybe, Annie, I don't know what you think about this, but do you think that maybe that's because that was your goal, was to,
it was absolutely my goal.
Looking for that person in a bar?
To clarify, to find a spouse.
Right. Look, is a bar where you really want to find your spouse?
It is where I found my spouse. It is where I met my husband for the first time. But no, I wasn't looking for him when I found him. And we had family, like our families knew each other. And I mean, that was important context for me. Like my younger brother and my husband's younger brother played on the same baseball team. And I knew that Jared existed, but he played sports and I was a 4-sport athlete. So a lot of my brother's baseball games I didn't go to because if he was playing fall ball, I was playing volleyball. If he was playing spring ball, I was playing, what did I do in the spring? Softball. And I did that in the summer as well. So I didn't know him. And I met him for the first time at Wild Country because I was meeting other friends there. And I was there with my girlfriends. And I just met him. And I think it probably took maybe 14 months or so for us to actually even start dating. And then we dated for 3.5 months or 3.5 years. But, I remember being in high school and thinking marriage, kids, job, college, marriage, kids, job. Like, this is the order of events. What's next? Marriage is probably the first thing after college. So let's find somebody to marry. And even intellectually knowing that the guys I dated throughout the course of that time were not looking for that. Not most of them were looking for that in return. So
most guys in general, probably at that age, are not.
No, I mean, no, it wasn't that. I mean, I had some relationships that were more serious than others. And it's funny to look back on it and know how ignorant we all were. Like, everybody in that process, you just don't know what you're doing, which is why you date, so that you can learn.
Yeah, I think also when I say what we were all looking for the same thing, it's unfair to say when I was 19 or 20 that I was like, well, I'm just out here looking for my spouse, like I was a Mennonite, I was part of the social scene, but I just wasn't looking to date for the same reasons as a lot of other people were.
And I think too that if you have, it seems in 2021, is it crazy to have an expectation for yourself and for your future spouse to be abstinent? Because there are middle school grades. I mean, look at the sex education in the state of Illinois. What they have just passed in the last year is jaw-dropping. What they are teaching kids and when they are teaching kids. It's horrifying to me as a parent who has kids from middle school, intermediate school, kindergarten, so on. We approach it so differently now than we did when I was dating, but then also when I was in elementary school, what kids are being exposed to. I send my kids to a parochial school specifically so that those types of issues are handled in a different way with an expectation. But I feel like any type of those standards, if I were to come on here and say that I would have that expectation that I will raise my kids to expect that, to uphold that for themselves and expect that of somebody who would be willing to wait for them, that almost sounds like laughable in 2021 culture that could even be possible.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. And the more people are willing to be laughed at, the more the dating pool opens up. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a bad thing at all. If you're going to have biblical values, you're going to have them across the board. You're not just going to pick and choose and say, well, but the culture's kind of watered down this part. Well, sorry. I mean, that's the point of having capital T truth.
So much of what influences culture is in our entertainment world. And, I'm looking around right now. Who's influencing culture in that way?
There aren't many. I can't think of anybody who's out there maybe Tim Tebow. He's kind of been
And look what they've done to him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not that, that to me shows that he's doing something right.
Right.
But when you look at the status quo of what we expect of each other is from a standard level, and then you look at what the people who are like, status quo doesn't get attention because it's a status quo. Look at what people are doing to get attention right now. And this is the world we're raising our children in. So this is the attention getting standards, if you will, is what our children default see. What is the countermeasure to that? I mean, obviously it has to come from the home, but at some point your mom's saying mom things.
Well, you read my mind though, but if they grow up seeing that and seeing that that's the primary relationship, a man and woman in their life, and they're seeing, well, this is a good thing, and it turns out good, you like it, that's going to be the model for them, which has always been the case. But it used to be that there were also other influences outside of just that one relationship.
And the status quo was different.
We don't see that much anymore.
I think it's a matter of changing like where people get their affirmation from. Whenever you say, well, the culture affects my children, well, teach your children to get their affirmation from something other than what the culture thinks is cool. And I know that's hard to do, but you want your child to get their affirmation. In my case, I would want my children to get their affirmation from Christ. This is who you are. And it doesn't matter what the world says. Your standards are your standards. And you believe that you are a lovable person. You believe you're a likable person. You believe that you are able to find that person that you have set these standards for, and you don't settle for less. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to operate outside of what culture says for you. Because if we don't operate outside of what culture says for you, then culture will drive your life. And that's no good.
And everything that is out there right now talking to our kids is pushing them down. Everything that is out there is telling them that they need something that they aren't or don't have in order to be adequate. And like I said, if you can't be on it all the time. And I try to A, not be a helicopter mom, but B, I try not to miss anything, which is a fine line to walk. But when you're not advocating for what Brad's saying, somebody else is advocating for something different, always. And the older they get and the more they're exposed and steeped in that social media world, it's frightening.
Well, I agree 100% with what Brad said, but that stuff does happen. So you just hope that you're also able to sort of, when the culture does come in, you're able to have good influences included in them because there'll be bad ones.
You do what you can do with the time that you're given.
Yeah. Someone suggested that at speed dating, Ryan would just do the wiggly arms dance for 5 minutes and see how that fared. Is that what you did for your wife, Katie?
No, but I actually did that. That really did happen. That's a story for another day. That really
if we
happened.
talk about that tomorrow, will you listen or won't you listen? Let me know on the Facebook page, and then we'll do that tomorrow. Stick around. Mark Reardon's coming up next.
I'm not America's sweetheart. So
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed